Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen. John, it's a Football Friday in Eagle Land, my friend. How you doing this morning?
Doing pretty well. Get to another week, and then you get the bye, and then then it's time to hit that stretch run and try to play your best football at the right time. So, going to be interesting. As you see some of the things clarify in the NFC, but Eagles are in the mix with everybody, and they just got to figure some things out, starting with the running game. Obviously, we say that seems like every week. It's very bizarre. I can't explain it. I don't think anybody can explain it. Everybody's tried. I don't think anybody can explain it. And you kind of hope that things just click, and maybe Saquon against his old team, maybe it clicks. But we'll see.
He had a big game versus the New York Giants last year. I think that was the game where he almost set the record, and then he went to the bench, right? And Nick was like, you can get it if you want it. And he was like, let the young guys play. So, yeah, that was last year. So he did have a big game versus the New York Giants last year. This is a different football team, though. But, John, the reason I won't rule out a big run game today or Sunday is I didn't expect the pass game to get going versus Brian Flores and the Vikings. So I'm not going to rule out the run game get going versus any opponent, no matter how good their front is or their defensive line is.
Yeah, it's a crazy league. I mean, it really is. We talk about that. I mean, last night was an abject disaster. So if you look at it if you look at it, if you had the hindsight of that game, then you go, yeah, they might throw it. So I mean, things change quickly in this league. When things are going poorly, especially for certain teams.
Herbert cooked the blitz last night too, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I mean that's look, those Thursday night games are just awful, and it's a conflation of things. I was out on that game when it was 24-3, or I'm like, all right, I'm not going to watch this. But it was that kind of performance, and it all starts with the quarterback play. God bless Carson Wentz, man. But and that's when people talk about the impact of the quarterback position. I always say, well, who's the best player versus who has the largest impact? Who has the largest impact is always the quarterback. Always the quarterback. Good, great, bad, indifferent, terrible. It's always the quarterback. And when you see terrible quarterback play, you see the rest of the team just sink right in front of your eyes, like everything. It's like, oh, we stink. It's just human nature. And that's what you see when things are really bad. When things are really good, it's the opposite. It's like the tide lifting all boats. But yeah, but that was, bad quarterback play, short week on the road, going across. Like, you want to play Thursday night, look what happened to the Eagles on Thursday night, and they're going up the Jersey Turnpike. You don't want to go halfway across the country. So they got blitzed, but from the Eagles standpoint, yeah, I mean, you ask me every week, what's the plan? Well, the plan last week was to run the football, and it toggled right away, and that's good coaching, basically, because you want to make those adjustments from series to series and really play to play. So you have to give the coaches a little bit credit when they go in with a plan. The plan is not envisioning, sort of developing like you want, and you toggle. That's good. That's very good. So until they get this running game going, that I think is going to be the plan every week, literally every week, to try to get it going. But if it's not working, at least they've proven that they're not going to bang their heads against the wall.
No doubt about it, John. Brandon Graham makes his return return this weekend for the first time. Do you think he's going to play?
Yeah, not necessarily, but if he does, they have a 2-week exemption, so he's not on the 53 yet.
I just don't know who are going to be the edge rushers.
Well, the same as last week. Aziz went down, so you pretty much narrowed it down to Jalix Hunt, Josh Uche, Patrick Johnson, and Jahad Campbell helping out. And the silver lining to that is that it enabled you to get Nakobe on the field, that linebacker, a little bit more. So they can get by another game doing that. But if they think Brandon can give them 15, 20 snaps, they'll activate him for the game. But that's all about this week and what they've seen and conditioning and all that kind of stuff. Now, he's been around for 16 years, so the retention stuff, which Vic mentioned, he's retaining everything. So I don't think that part of it's an issue. But the conditioning is a real part of the issue, and they have to make that decision if he's there and ready to help or if he needs the extra time.
We'll see what ends up happening there. John, what's the injury report as of yesterday and what you learned yesterday down at the NovaCare Complex? AJ didn't practice once again, and Cam Jurgens didn't practice once again. So it doesn't look like Cam will play. What's the update on AJ, though? I mean, you mentioned yesterday you still think he's going to play. No practices. What's the update?
Yeah, well, I was expecting him to be at least limited yesterday. So now it's a little bit more. Plus, the other part is they not activated, but they started the 21-day practice window for Darius Cooper late in the week. Now, normally when you start the 21-day windows for guys coming back from injured reserve, you do it right away on a Sunday, week Wednesday. That's what they did for Jacorian Bennett. Started the window. They didn't start Cooper's window until yesterday. Now, it might mean nothing, but raised my antenna that said, why are you doing it a day late during the week? That's not typical mode of doing business. So maybe there's concern that AJ won't be able to go. Not that he can replace AJ Brown.
No, but you need bodies. Yeah.
Yeah, but you might need another body. So that'll be key to see if he's out there. I don't think if he's out there today, if he's not out there today, I don't think even AJ, you can play him with no practice during the week. But if he makes it out there today, they're probably, going to try to see, or at least take it up to game time, and make a decision there.
Did AJ speak at all this week or no?
No, he's hurt. So,
he's hurt. Yeah, so they don't have
doing rehab and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you have to. So today's big day.
Theorist on AJ Brown. They're going to be coming. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I think they're already there. What do you mean?
Yeah, they're there.
Oh yeah. Oh, undoubtedly because of his Instagram post.
Well, his Instagram, and then he doesn't speak, and now he's on.
Well, the speaking part of it that's common. If you're not practicing, you generally aren't.
I think people will tie it all together, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, people who don't know it's common, yeah, but I mean that's not meaningful. The other stuff is somewhat meaningful, but typically, if you're not injured, you're not practicing, you're not talking. Not 100%. Some guys, scroll through because they want to talk, but very rarely. So that part of it.
So you don't think there's any games being played with AJ right now? You think he's got an honest hamstring injury? Nothing to pique your eyes up at, or raise your eyebrows at.
No, he's definitely hurt. I mean, he's working on the side field with trainers. I mean, yeah, he's definitely hurt.
I'm just correcting the narrative because people come here for Eagles truth, and there's a lot of not Eagles truth out there.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, he's definitely.
They're going to trade him, or he doesn't want to speak to the media, so he's not practicing, or whatever the case might be. So we got to see what happens there, and we'll see if AJ Brown plays. I guess today's report will give you a better indication, John, on whether he would play.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't practice all week, they might even rule him out today if he's not, but if he is able to go out and do some things, then I still expect him to try. They'll, at the bare minimum, take it up to game time and make a decision on whether he can play. But those are tricky injuries. I said, when we were dealing with Quignon coming into last week, there's different grades of hamstring strains. And, if you go back to the summer, he hurt his hamstring and he was gearing up to come back against Cleveland in the joint practices. And he went a little bit too hard and had to scale it back again. So those are injuries, especially at those positions, that can aggravate if you push it too much. So those are tricky injuries, but I get the narratives. And yeah, he's working out on the side field with trainers and trying to rehab it. So, I mean, he's going above and beyond if he doesn't have a hamstring.
Yeah, no doubt. John, a couple other players spoke yesterday. I know you wrote something. You wrote about the defensive comments from Reed Blankenship over on SI.com, where you do all your writing. Any takeaways from what the players had to say? I know Mailata said some interesting stuff yesterday about righting the ship and getting back on track and playing with a little bit of vengeance because of how poorly he played last time. Any takeaways from the player comments yesterday as we prep for this Week 8 matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody was disappointed in the way things went up at MetLife Stadium, to say the least. Probably none more so than Jordan Mailata, as you mentioned. But, Jordan was very clear because he had said that, the old school Sixers fans know about, we owe you one, about owing the Giants one. He made it clear that was a personal belief. It's not a team wide type of thing. Just he thought he played poorly, and he didn't play that poorly, but he thought he played poorly. And that's not Nick's messaging or the team's messaging. That's just him saying it's personal for him. And he said, I hate to play like shit. And he thinks he played like shit. So it's personal for him. I think for the rest of the team, it's like, we didn't play the way we typically play. And that's what happens when you do that in the NFL, even against bad teams, because you give them some juice early and all of a sudden they start to gain some confidence. And all of a sudden you're in the dogfight. You make a big mistake and maybe a comeback is on the table, but you make that mistake, it goes the other way and the game's over. So I think it's they want to be more physical. They think they got pushed around a little bit by Cam Scattaboo.
Yeah, they did. I don't think they did. I think they know they did, John.
And so they want to get back to how they normally play. And I think if they do that, but I think this is also a game where you want to get off to a good start because you don't want to give them that confidence again. If you get off to that 2-score lead, you score a touchdown and a field goal, or, best case scenario, you score 2 touchdowns, then they're done. They're cooked. It's over. So I think getting off to a good start is paramount as well.
Yeah, no doubt. John, do you get the sense that the waters are steady in the organization right now? They're 1-2 in the last 3 games. They were coming off of 2 losses straight for the first time since 2023, and then they got a good win last week. So they got back in the win column, which is a good thing. But just what's the sense inside the organization, John? I remember last week you used the word vibes, and we had a funny show about you using the word vibes. How are the vibes in the locker room this week, just in terms of the approach and the, just the mentality of the players at this point?
I don't know. That's probably more about me than them, but, because sometimes you get a feeling like I knew they were going to win out in Minnesota. I just knew they were going to win. I don't have that same feeling this week, but it's not a feeling of are they going to lose? It's more of business as usual. Like I think they overreact to losses just like the fan base does, because they have created these expectations for themselves.
Well, and they don't lose a lot. So to be
And
fair,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So I think they were mirroring the fan base in that, oh my God, we lost 2 games. This is a disaster. Um, and they really had to focus in, and you could sense they were really focused going into last week's game. Now I think it's more that they've steadied the ship and they think they're back to normal, but and I think they will be. I think they're going to win this game. But and the big test will come after the bye. But yeah, I think this is just I mean, this team hasn't won in Philadelphia since 2014. Obviously, that has nothing to do with the current Giants because they weren't around. I mean, they just don't win here. They haven't won for a long time because they've been a bad organization for a long time. And they still are. Little signs, little positivity here and there, but I'm sure if they won that game in Denver last week, it'd be a little bit more. Well, losing that game the way they lost that game, it probably pops in their head. Oh, here we go again. So I think that loss hurt this game for them pretty dramatically from a mindset standpoint.
Yep, no doubt. I want to thank and welcome everybody for being here this morning. We got a great show planned. In a couple of minutes, we'll have Scott Grayson from Fox 29. He'll join the show this morning. We'll kind of break down or prepare for this Eagles-Giants Week 8 matchup with Scott Grayson. And then after Scott, in hour number 2, we will have a full breakdown of the game. We'll look at some of the key matchups to watch. And for any people that have super chats, we will take some super chats on a Football Friday. We'll also give you our predictions for the game as well. John, I want to ask you a question here about A.J. Brown. You've been somebody who has had an up close, I don't know about relationship with A.J. You've seen him firsthand. You've always been able to add good context when people are trying to figure out what A.J. Brown is saying. In your opinion, John, is it going too far right now? I don't want to say he's a locker room cancer because I don't believe he is at all. But I'm just saying the quarterback's at the podium and has to answer about it now. It's like, is it going too far? Do you think there's any reverberations of that in the locker room? How do you see kind of this saga with A.J. Brown right now and just your perspective on it?
Well, I think it has gone too far. I would never call that guy cancer in the locker room. He's just not viewed that way by his teammates. But I do think he creates unnecessary hurdles for himself and the team with the social media stuff. So, but again, I didn't grow up with that as part of my life. So, I mean, everybody from a certain age now, it's always been ingrained in them that social media is this big part of their life. And it generally creates more problems than it helps. From an athlete standpoint, from somebody from a high profile person standpoint, it's very valuable to get your own messaging out there without a filter if you want it. So there's a lot of positives to it as well. But I think you've seen it time and time again. It's been a consistent sort of trend where AJ says something, people take it a million different ways. It goes different ways where he didn't want it to go, and then he's got to scale it back. And this has been a repeating circumstance. And when he does talk, whenever he does talk, might be today, he's going to answer about what he tweeted this week, and I've already forgotten exactly. If you have the words in front of you, it was using me but not using something like that. Paraphrasing. He'll answer that, and they'll probably say similar things of, "I didn't mean it like this," and people took it like that. But that's the one thing where I do hold AJ accountable for. Well, there's millions of people are going to read that. And yes, some are going to take it in a negative direction. So there's an easy way to stem that tide, and that's don't do it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I was listening to a podcast, the podcast with Devontae Smith. He was on Terrion Arnold and Pat Surtain's podcast, and they legitimately asked him, John, what's next for you? You're a Heisman Trophy winner. You're on one of the winningest teams in pro football. You won a Super Bowl, and his without hesitation, it was Pro Bowls and All Pros. And they looked at him and were like, "You haven't had a Pro Bowl?" His two Alabama teammates, and Devontae Smith's like, "Nah, man, I haven't." So, like, I think people who dismiss that these receivers do want to be a part of the game plan. I know they want to win, but at the end of the day, they are individuals and they do have their own goals, their own aspirations, and they want to dominate and be remembered, as a great wide receiver. I heard Justin Jefferson last night, John, pre-game interview. This was a direct quote from Justin Jefferson. "I want to walk across the stage and get the Hall of Fame jacket and leave my legacy as one of the best wide receivers of all time." Now, I'm not saying that's the right mindset. I'm just saying to dismiss it as the human element of the game. Not saying you are, but I think a lot of people do, and they're just like, "Hey, you're winning." Sit down and
Those
shut
are
up.
yeah.
That's not how they think, man. That's not how great receivers are ever going to think. Great players, really.
You
I don't
don't.
think.
I say it all the time. You do not want receivers who don't want the football. Trust me.
Yeah, I believe.
You do not want that guy. Now there are different stages to it, but even you bring up Jefferson, like there was a point in that game he showed his obvious frustration. It could be much worse.
When Wentz airmailed one right into the opposing team's arms.
I mean, it's a situation where look, every great receiver is going to be upset when they don't have a vehicle that gets them the football. That's obvious. That part's obvious. Now, the Eagles don't have that. They just have a different style of playing that doesn't lend itself to high volume passing numbers week to week. But they've been very successful, so it's a little bit more hard to understand. But the bottom line is these guys want the football, and you don't want a receiver that doesn't want the football.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
It's like Ben
I
Simmons.
thought it was interesting because a lot of people dismiss that. They do care when they don't go to the Pro Bowl. They do care when they don't make an All Pro. You know what I mean? They do care about.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I compare it to Ben Simmons in basketball. Look, and obviously went bad with Ben Simmons at the end here, but as his height, he was this great player making all-star teams and maybe one of the best defensive players and playmaker in this, and didn't like to shoot the ball. Like, you know how rare that is in the NBA where you got a wing player that doesn't want to shoot? And bottom line, at the end of the day, there was a ceiling towards him because he didn't want to shoot the ball.
Right.
You don't want that.
Can't believe we're talking about Ben Simmons right now.
Well, I think it's a good comp.
No, it is. I like the comp too. I like the comp too.
You want somebody who wants the ball in their hands and takes the last shot, not give up a layup in a big game. You don't want that.
Yeah, no doubt. Good stuff, Johnny Mac. Good preview here. We'll have a full preview too as well. We got still an hour and a half left to play. We got Scott Grayson joining us from Fox 29. He joins us right now here on Birds 365. You can follow him at S Grayson, Fox 29. Scott, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing on a Football Friday today?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Good to see you, Scotty. We'll start. You were there for the MetLife debacle. I think that surprised all of us. What do you think happened in that game? There's a lot of they got out physical, which was atypical of the Eagles. But generally, they don't lay eggs like that. How do you explain that egg?
It just seemed like the perfect storm. I mean, the short week, you would have thought coming off the loss to the Broncos, they'd have been more ready than less ready. But, I mean, they were flat. They had no energy. I mean, you saw it. They had no energy. They were flat. They were out physical. They were out. Yeah. The Giants, frankly, won every single one of the 53 guys that were active wanted it more than the Eagles. I mean, it was hard to watch. You're right. I had not seen them, even in the 23 collapse. I don't remember them coming out that lifeless. and confused. And I mean, as plain as they were at times under Desai with defense, I mean, they were so, Lane Johnson said it after the game. They were predictable. I mean, it was just tough to watch. It was not what we've seen out of this team under Nick Sirianni.
Those Thursday games, I'm glad you brought that's a part of it. They're awful. They are awful, especially for the road team. And I know the Eagles didn't have to go far, but
right.
Still, it's just you don't practice that week. You don't do anything. You do a couple walkthroughs and you're right back on the field.
And it's. I think teams like it when they win it because they get that extra time after. When you lose it and you have to sit with that for a few extra days, it obviously. I mean, I think the Eagles needed the little extra time because they did come out looking a little bit better in Minnesota. Obviously, still a lot to work on, but I mean, the extra time at this point is where that's why I think they're back in the same boat. I mean, you got to win this game because you go into this bye week then feeling a little better at 6-2. Sounds a lot better than 5-3.
Yep.
And you've got that extra time where I think again this coaching staff just needs that extra time. The players need that time to heal up from where they are right now. To go into the second half of the season just feeling a little bit better about where they are, who they are, and what they're trying to fix.
Scott, how do you feel about this team through 7 games right now? I mean, we're coming off a season, Scott, that was historic in so many ways, and they did it by running the football and by dominating defensively. Through 7 games, those two things don't apply to the 2025, at least not yet. So they're still 5-2. They're still a team that knows how to win, but they're a very different team in a way this year. What do you kind of make of them through seven games so far?
I think what we're seeing is the effects of having a young team, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. You have a complex defense that Vic Fangio likes to run, and those guys have to learn it. We saw last year; it took a little bit of time, and once they started getting it, they got it, and good things happened. I mean, let's not lose sight of the fact that the Vikings were in the red zone 6 times last week, and they only got 1 touchdown. Probably a large reason why they won the game. So there are good things. Obviously we all see the pass rush or the lack thereof and know that Howie has to do more than just bring Brandon Graham back to think that's going to fix it. Getting Nolan Smith back will help at some point. But so what are they? I look at this team and they're still trying to find their identity, and it feels somewhat similar to last year. And I don't want to go on and say the comp is down the road where they're going to also then go win the Super Bowl because that's foolish. But we didn't know what they were going into the bye week last year. It was earlier in the season, and they found their identity coming out of it. I feel like they're starting to find their identity. Offensively, they started to find something with the going under center. A couple weeks ago, they were finding success going no huddle. I don't know why they stopped doing that. Mix it in a little bit. It doesn't hurt. Why not keep guys from the defense on the field and not allow them to substitute? I mean, you can control that. Use it to your advantage. There's things I think that they can figure out identity-wise going out of this bye week on both sides of the ball. And I think what we're seeing, again, is the youth on defense trying to find their way. I think we're also seeing that they don't have a CB2 right now, and they need one. There's another area that Howie has to try to address. I think they just got a little arrogant looking at the youth they had, thinking they're going to be able to produce and let some guys go that I think in hindsight, and Isaiah Rodgers perhaps, they would have liked to have kept. That would have made
I
this
don't know.
defense
You
a lot
see
better.
Isaiah the last 2 weeks, I'm not sure.
Well, he almost
he's
had a
better,
pick six
but no,
last
he's better. He's better than he's better than what they have. But all right, it's like a week away from Halloween. What's today's date?
24th.
So
it is a week away.
Yeah, it is. Okay, perfect. It's a week away, so I'm gonna scare you guys. Give you a nice trick rather than the treat. Here's the scariest stat I've seen, and I said it last week, but now it's even more in focus. The Eagles are the only NFL team since 1940. 1940. Let me repeat that. Since 1940, to start 5-2 or better while being outgained in every game. They've been outgained in every single game. Nobody's done that since 1940 and started as well as they have. At some point, is that just reality going to bite them in the you-know-what, Scott?
Well, that's where you do make the comp to 2023. I mean, there were a lot of times where they won games they had no business winning. And they've done that a little bit already this season. And it is scary. I think that is a scary stat. Because it's a trend, right? You are now 7 games in. This is long enough to say it's a trend. It's not a fluke.
Absolutely.
So you've got to fix that. And how are they doing it? Well, because they're letting teams in the red zone and then stopping them. They're blocking field goals and punts and returning them for, touchdowns or winning games by doing. You can't live like you can't expect your quarterback to go out every game and throw a perfect game. I think that's foolish. So they have to. That is a scary stat, because if you continue to try to act like it's not that's where, I really wanted to believe the back-to-back losses would wake this team up to realize you can't just go into a game, think you're going to win it and have the better team on paper and win it. It just doesn't happen in this league. And that is a scary stat. I think that's something that I'm sure Vic Fangio is very well aware of and knows that they've got to squash. And look, they've had the opportunity to outgain other teams. They've started at their own 5 or 10 because they can't catch a kickoff. So
that they traded 2 picks for, by the way, to get a kickoff return.
And no more. Now it's Xavier Gibson. He's won that job. So no more Tank Bigsby.
Yeah.
Although now Tank seems to be the backup running back. So we'll see. Although I don't know if 1 carry for 11 yards is backup, but they don't use anybody really other than Saquon Barkley. And that's the biggest issue to me. And I keep saying it, and I can't explain it. I cannot explain. Look, in this era with this offensive line, they have run the football with Miles Sanders. They have run the football with DeAndre Swift, and then they've run the football historically with Saquon Barkley. And all of a sudden, they can't run the football. It is bizarre. You look at individually, Scott, Lane's playing well. Jordan's playing well. Tyler's playing better than I thought he would at this stage. Now Cam and Landon have been banged up and not playing to their level, but they're still better. You see some of these other offensive lines around the league. They're still better than a lot of teams. Why can't they run the football?
If you go back, and I haven't done this, but I have a feeling I know the answer. How many games have the Eagles started and finished with the same offensive line that started the game? Might be different guys week to week, but and
it's going to be different this week. It's going to be Brett Toth at center again.
That's fine. My point is, even if they start that way, will they finish that way?
Right.
Because when you make a change, John, you're out there. Those reps with the first team are limited. And when you have those, and they're going to one guy over another by an 80 to 20% clip, or just even with ones, let alone twos, reps at all. I mean, that chemistry and communication, the more you talk to offensive linemen, the longer you cover these teams and talk that is so key. And I don't want to give them an excuse, which I know is what it sounds like, just trying to answer the question. I think there's a lot of chemistry and communication issues that have happened up front. Jordan Mailata will admit he is not having as good of a season as he's had in the past. Landon Dickerson hasn't been next to him for part of that. I think Landon matters that much. You look at Toth, and I think no matter what the coaches say, I think it was just by accident they found that Jalen under center works better. It's because Toth came in and he can't snap the shotgun. So you got lucky.
They claim that's not the issue, but I think it's the issue. Yeah.
Right. But so to me, I think coming out of the bye, if you can get a little healthier on that offensive line, maintain a little consistency, chemistry, communication, give those guys an opportunity to work together for an entire 60 minutes, I think that will help. I don't believe Saquon Barkley is worse for the wear after last season. I just think he's not had the holes to hit. I don't think the play calling has been as good. We haven't seen Jalen Hurts run as much, which I think helped Saquon last year. Whenever Jalen would sometimes keep it and take it, it just froze the defense for an extra second. And those offensive linemen were playing so much better. That's what gave them the 3 to 4 yards before he would even get hit. We're not seeing that, and I do believe that if they can continue to throw the ball a little bit better, obviously not at quite the clip they did last week, it should loosen up the defense a little more. I mean, every team has been going into these games, and you can see it. Saquon Barkley is not going to be who beats us today. And they're stacking the box. They're putting all kinds of run blitzes in there. They're filling it up. And frankly, they're making Jalen have to make some decisions. Now, last week he did a better job with that. And I think, earlier in the season, I just didn't see any creativity, any flow, any rhythm with the offensive play calling. I mean, I couldn't believe, still it baffles me, when in the preseason, I don't know if he meant this or not, but it certainly sounded like it, when Kevin Patullo said he doesn't script plays. I mean, the whole purpose of scripting plays at the beginning of a game is because you're trying to get the other team to tip their hand on how they're going to defend what you do in certain formations, situations, things you can learn from that you're going to play off of later in the game. Blew my mind. So I think it's a mix of everything. The offensive line hasn't played as well. They haven't had the consistency. Saquon Barkley hasn't had the ability to get really into open space. They're running him sometimes too much up the middle when he needs a little room on the outside. Lane Johnson, as you said, has been playing well. Why wouldn't you run more outside of him with a tight end perhaps out there, or putting Fred Johnson out there when they do, and run off of that side a little bit? There's ways I think you can get Saquon out there, and they just haven't been doing it. So I blame everybody on the offense for that, and that is obviously something that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it sounds like Scott, you're in the questionable on Patullo so far. I know
Now I got to defend Kate. Now I got
John's going to come in and defend Patullo, man.
Well, that's one, and I was actually Doug Peterson. I say this all the time. That Doug was the one who taught me that scripting plays is one of the most overrated. Like, it's became a narrative, from the Bill Walsh days, and that's where it started. But Doug told me, usually when you hit the first third down, you're off script. You're off.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you're off script. And Kevin gets in trouble because sometimes he says too much. So what he said was, they script plays, they call them openers. They have openers, but they have such a veteran laden team, they feel comfortable getting off script very quickly. So he said it in sort of a positive way, because we have so many veteran players, so many high IQ players. They can go off it quickly if they need to go off it. But yeah, Doug's the one who told me most overrated thing. I mean, you're off the first third down, you're off script. Now, if you go first down, second down, you're getting a first down, you keep going, it could be perfect, but that's very, very rare. Very rare. So anyway.
There's the chess match that you see in the game, and I have not been sold that Kevin has, particularly even at halftime, made in-game adjustments off of
what he
what
did
the
last week.
doing.
They came in, Scott, the game plan in that was to run the football, and they did it pretty effectively on the first drive. And
they
then
have
from
been
that
running the ball better early in the game. It's later. It's once you get out of the first quarter, they seem to struggle.
Right.
Yeah, they ran it well against the Giants early in the game.
They had like 2 carries
just
game for 31 yards, I think it was.
But in Minnesota, the Vikings really tried to lock it down, and they toggled, and they had a lot of success with it. So, sometimes you're right, but I think last week they did a pretty good job, because they went in. They went in with the mindset of, we got to get the running game going.
From your perspective, John, and you were there, yes?
Yeah. No, I was not in Minnesota.
Okay, but from what you saw, going under center seemed to open up a lot of things. And I think
everybody. I think everybody. And Jordan Mailata was talking about this extensively yesterday.
I saw that.
It gives the offensive linemen better angles. It gives Saquon the ability to get downhill quicker. There's so many things that come from play action. So I don't think anybody denies that. Like, if you look at, it makes it much more difficult for the defense to decipher run or pass. If you line up the back to the left of the quarterback or the right of the quarterback, the other defensive end can crash in the gun. So there's a lot of positives to play action. But Scott, the bottom line is all these quarterbacks go through high school and college, and they're not comfortable with it because they're in the gun their entire life.
Packers in college line up in shotgun all day.
So
no, you're right about that. It's a bit of an epidemic, and but you know, it sounds like it should be easy enough to do, right? But I get it when you've played your entire high school and even through college, and I know with Jalen, this is part of it too. They don't like to turn their back to the defense. They don't like to, when they're dropping back, lose sight of whoever might be their first read, second read, and have to pick it up.
yeah.
But man, it looked good, and I don't know how you don't maintain or continue to keep that part of, again, like I said, throughout the season, and I feel this way. I think you do too, John. I'm not sure about you, Xander, but like the new NFL, the preseason is weeks 1 through 4. So we're still at that point. We're going into week 4 now, a post preseason, if you will. And I think there's this whole finding your identity at this point that I think this needs to be part of their identity. I think this needs to be part of what they do. And I think it will help open the run game. And I believe that post bye week, with a little bit healthier of an offensive line, they'll find more success with the run, which will open more passing, right? You can kind of see the snowball start working downhill. Defensively, though, they've got to get better pressure. It can't wait until Carson Wentz is holding the ball too long on some key situations in the fourth quarter.
Oh, poor Carson got killed last night, man.
He had a rough night.
Yeah, tough watch. Tough watch, Carson Wentz.
Ooh. That bad luck too, because him and Josh McCown, our old buddy Josh McCown, they're smiling going up at halftime. That's a bad look, man. It's a bad look. But yeah, that was a bad situation for them. For the Eagles, I agree with you, Scott, when it comes to, and they had success, so you should continue to sprinkle it in at the bare minimum, I would think. But there are some things.
Real quick though, they did have a historic running game last year without being under center all that much.
That's very true.
But I mean, I get it. Teams adjust, things change. The league, there's a lot of different changes year to year. So I'm not dismissing that. I'm just pointing out that we had a historic running game without lining.
Well, my point is it makes it more difficult for the defense. Play action does make it more difficult for the defense. But there are other things, like mechanically, fundamentally. Like, people say, why can't you take this? Well, they can take the snaps, but you got 3, 5, 7-step drops that have to be, precise, like a military, drill. And it's not just you pick it up, you spend your whole life doing something one way, and then, do it this way. Muscle memory, all that kind of stuff. It's a little bit more difficult than people make it out to be. But I think it's fair to say they should sprinkle it in more at the bare minimum. They're always going to be a gun team, always, predominantly. But I think it's fair to say that they should sprinkle it in more. I think that there's no question about that.
Well, and the thing that I also believe was a little bit maybe underestimated or underappreciated, be a better word. Everybody makes a big deal about AJ Brown and his wanting the ball and the communication and being on the same page with Jalen Hurts. One of the things I was the deep ball to Devontae Smith, beautiful, right? Well executed. One of the things I was most encouraged by was when Jalen went out of the pocket on AJ's first touchdown and gestured to him to go upfield and then dropped it right in his lap. That was a street yard play, right? That was needing to be on the same page, communication, nonverbal communication. And to me, I was encouraged by that because the what was it? The week before, the deep ball to AJ where he slowed up and didn't run through, and there was lack of communication on that, obviously, or knowing that the ball was coming. And I just, that was one of the things I was most encouraged to see. Plus, and then, you go on really the dagger play of last week was the slant that went incomplete. And then they did the slant and go. The fourth down. It was totally Jalen and AJ Brown running that. And the slant and go was good because the slant, he beat, AJ beat his guy. I think it was Isaiah Rodgers.
It was Isaiah. Poor Isaiah, man.
Yeah, and so there's I feel like there's some encouraging signs, right? In some of what we might think little things, right? Communication, nonverbal communication, being on the same page. We always talk about it. And I think there were signs of that last week. For all, everybody wants to say about AJ and he's a prima donna and he wants, I heard you guys talking about it when I came on. Hey, John, I mean, I do. I want guys who want the ball. If they're not getting the ball, I feel it's okay for them to be upset about not getting the ball. Just got to be careful about how you do that to not upset teammates. But, I mean, everybody knows who AJ is at this point. They know who he is, what he is. He seems like a good teammate behind the scenes. We wouldn't know for sure. But I think a lot of the stuff that we see out there in the media is somewhat generated by fans and interpretations of what they see or how they – does he troll on social media? Would it be better if he didn't do some of that? Sure. Does Joel Embiid do that? Yeah, he does it all the time.
Yeah.
So –
that's a good point. He does fuel it. He drops a little gasoline on those.
Oh, sure. I think he likes that. I think he whatever he takes to fuel you, right? And there's if that's what he's got to do a little bit, I think there's maybe some better ways. But listen, man, if he goes out there and produces and wins championships, I mean, isn't that what you want?
Yep, no doubt. Scott, how do you evaluate Jalen Hurts so far this year? 2025 version of Hurts.
That's what I do. Yeah, it's such a long explanation.
That's a good question. I guess I'll start by going backwards. Obviously, last week showed a lot of great things. As John said, I mean, he was hitting his drops and delivering the ball. At times, I think Jalen gets into trouble when he holds the ball too much. One thing I wish he would do more, and he did do a little bit better last week, was when he gets out of the pocket, almost like a Russell Wilson in his prime, keep your eyes downfield. I think he looks to run too many times. Once he gets out, just thinking if he can just get back to the line of scrimmage, there's times just throw it away. He has, in his career, never really done that a whole lot. Once he gets out, he tries to make a play. I respect that. But he doesn't keep his eyes downfield enough where I think he could find an open guy, deliver the ball out of bounds. He's taken some runs where he's lost a yard, lost 2 yards, when he could have thrown it away or just gotten back to the line of scrimmage and maybe had a guy downfield. There's some of that I wish he would do a little differently. Now, I do like the fact, like last year, he is taking care of the ball. Ultimately, to me, one of the biggest keys I see every week is if the Eagles can just tie or especially win the turnover battle, I think they're going to win every game they play. They're that good. But you give a team a turnover and it really affects the game. I mean, and we saw that. I mean, the interception he threw when they were down, I believe, in the red zone. He had AJ going over the middle of the field. He was open. He could have thrown him the ball. Instead, he went to the sideline to Jahan Dotson and goes the other way. A big problem. Big play, big mistake. So where is Jalen Hurts right now? I feel like he's turning the corner a little bit within this offense. I do wish that he would. One thing I do like better that he's done too. He gets down instead of taking hits. In the past, he used to take
a very
hits.
smart runner, Scott. Very smart.
He has. I just wish that he would give him a little design run here or there, a little bit more, just to help Saquon, because I think teams have started keying on Saquon and believing that Jalen isn't going to run unless he gets out of the pocket and improvises. And so I would like to see them add that a little more. But overall, he's throwing the ball. I think he's throwing the ball pretty well. Obviously, last week he missed some plays in the past. But again, I'm going back to this whole thing. Like, if I believe they're starting to find their identity, then I'm going to believe that Jalen Hurts is going to start to get a little more comfortable in the offense, and then therefore I think we're going to start to see more consistency from him. We'll see if I'm right.
Yeah, to your point, the Eagles are 5-0 when they have a takeaway this season. 0-2 in the games where they haven't had a takeaway. So that ball security taken away, and you mentioned the Giants game was the Cordell blot play where he had AJ open, and for some reason he threw he threw it inside. Cordell got it, game over. But Jalen's thrown it 195 times, Scott, and he's got 1 interception. Most NFL teams would take that. My biggest question is, are they too ball security conscious at times, which takes away some of the big playability.
Well, and I think that's where AJ gets frustrated. Instead of giving AJ a 50-50 ball, you can see that Jalen will sail it a little bit over his head and out of bounds.
Yeah.
And I'm with AJ on, like, listen, if you want to throw it along the boundary and give him a chance to make a play, if it does turn into a turnover, you give one of the best receivers in the game a chance. He didn't win the ball. I think there's a lot of coach. I would take that. There's times I think I agree with you. He's a little too cautious and protective of that interception stat. And I just wish you would trust certain guys, an A.J. Brown and even a Devontae Smith. A Dallas Goedert in a 50-50 ball, I think, is probably going to win it. At certain times when you need it, you got to have it, or it's a third down. Give them a chance to make a play. Listen, I get it on first down. You want to be careful with it. Okay. Your third down chance to move the ball down and move the chains. Give those three guys, I would especially give a chance, a 50-50 ball. And I think there are times where, like you said, he is overly cautious to the point where you might be missing an opportunity. Plus, if it's uncatchable, you're not getting that flag for a PI. And a guy who's as physical as an A.J. Brown or a physical tight end like a Dallas Goedert might draw those flags.
You're right. And an over legislated league, pass interferences are a big deal, man. And savvy receivers get free yardage all the time. That's a good point, Scott. Now, you mentioned BG. We all love BG. What's not to love? My favorite player I've ever covered on any team. He's just somebody you like to be around. He's one of those people that walks in a room, lights it up. That said, I don't like this.
You don't?
I don't like it from the standpoint of, really? This is what you're dipping into? 37-year-old guy. And look, I think Howie will try to make a trade November 4th, trade deadline coming up. He'll try to add something more. But boy, I mean, this to me highlights just how bad it's been on the edge.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, right? I agree with you wholeheartedly about BG from the standpoint that, a lot of times with the media, you don't always see players for who they really are. BG has been genuine the entire time, and that part, there's two BGs that they're signing here. Okay, the one behind the scenes who we all see, John, who in the locker room, who is funny, he's genuine, he's a great teammate, a great leader, and he's going to be out there yapping, getting the other team fired up, talking trash with the best of them. There's that guy. Then there's the guy who you have to ask yourself, the player with the shoulder pads on. What is he going to give you? And to me, I'm a little surprised that they're going to run him out there potentially this Sunday. I thought this would be a perfect ramp-up week. You go through the bye, and then you have packages for him that he's a part of in certain pass rush situations, maybe in ways that he can stop the run in a certain rundown. You put him in certain spots. Because if you're bringing him in here, I think the ultimate goal is you want him available in the playoffs to play a role. He's a role player at this point. I got to believe he's going to get maybe, when he's back up to full strength, like maybe 20 snaps or something like that. I think you're picking your spots. This obviously is not the end-all, be-all, hey, we've fixed this whole pass rush thing here. But I think when you look at what you're getting, the BG, the locker room presence, I think they've missed a little bit of that this year. I don't know that this group of leaders has truly done a good job of leading through some of the adversity that they've faced. And I think they've struggled a little bit with replacing some of what they lost in the leadership column over the last couple of years, from a Jason Kelsey to a Brandon Graham. Now you get to bring BG back. What is he going to do? You've got him on the sidelines. He's also a coach. I mean, he's going to be a great coach for some of these younger guys there on the sidelines, seeing things, being able to relay information. Hey, try this next time. Try that. I've seen him doing this when they're watching film, giving tips on where they might be able to beat somebody. They're susceptible to this move. Try that. I think he's going to bring a lot of that. Now, what is he going to give you on the field himself? I'm not saying he's going to go out there and get you 10 sacks. Like, that's not going to happen. And I think anybody who believes that is foolish. But I do like the idea of what he can give you in spots. And I think that's where they've got to be careful to use him in those spots where he can give you the best rep and then go back on the sideline and put it all together. But, John, you were around him a lot last year. I was too. The whole time out at the Super Bowl, I never believed this guy was ready to hang it up. It did not feel like this is what he wanted to do.
And that's another point, though, Scott, is the Eagles didn't want this. And the only reason, as you said, desperation has made them pick up the phone and pull that trigger. Maybe, don't get me wrong. I think those 20 snaps, and I'm with you, it should be 15, 20 snaps, are going to be better than the ones you're getting from Azeez Ojulari, if he's healthy, or Patrick Johnson. So there's that incremental, like you're getting better for those 15, 20 snaps. But this just highlights this is not going well. And part of it is Nolan Smith's injury. And by the way, they could have started his 21-day practice window this week, and they didn't start it. So this assumption that he's going to be back for Green Bay, I still think that's likely going to be the case, but you have to start wondering.
Right.
And just his stature, 237 pounds, and now this is his second triceps injury. And guess what? The same 300 and plus pound offensive tackles are going to be there when he's back, and they're going to be pushing, and they're bigger and they're stronger. Any concerns over Nolan Smith reaching the ceiling that we all thought that he was going to reach?
Yeah, a little bit, because I expected him to come out. It looked like he was making great progress as the season went on last year through the playoffs and into the Super Bowl, right? And so when he came out this year, you just expected there to be a little bit more success. Now, I think what we're seeing is the domino effect. Like, how much of the success that we thought we'd see was related to Jalen Carter? Jalen Carter has not been 100%. We know that.
Yeah.
He has not been there for some games. And I think it's really affected what the rest of these guys are able to do, the trickle-down effect. I mean, when you have to take two guys or maybe even three to address Jalen Carter, it makes everybody else's job so much easier. And I think Nolan Smith benefited from some of that. I have been disappointed that he didn't come out of the gate a little bit better. But I do believe that some of that is related to Jalen Carter not being 100%. And so, again, going through this bye week and those guys getting healthy, I think there's a lot that can be gained from particularly a Jalen Carter getting healthy that will allow some of these other guys. I expect more from Jalen Hunt. I expect more from Nolan Smith when he comes back. I expect more from Moro Ojomo has shown flashes at times. And then will BG be better because Jalen Carter is taking up bodies?
Jalen Carter helps everybody, man. He does. You saw it last week, man. Yeah. That pick six is all Jalen Carter.
Right. He beats his man quickly, and he puts a lick on Carson Wentz, and it affected.
Good word for it.
I think I would argue that still affected Wentz last night.
Oh, yeah, I agree. He's all banged up. I
think the biggest success for that defense begins with Jalen Carter. He makes the secondary's job easier because they don't have to cover as long. And when he's not in there and he's not 100%, man, it can be a long day for that defense. And so I think Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt, Moro Ojomo, all those guys on the defensive line stand to benefit personally, statistically, from Jalen Carter getting healthy.
No doubt. Scott, do the Eagles win this week or do they get swept by the New York Giants?
It's so hard to beat a team twice, right? I just can't imagine that they would let this team come into their house 2 weeks after losing to them and lose again. I just don't see it. I expect the whole we were in that locker room, John, up in New York. That is as angry, as frustrated as I've seen some of these guys in a long time. And I expect the revenge factor to be a bit of a role here. I think they want to smack Cam Scatterbo in the mouth. I think they want to beat Jackson Dart all over the place. And I think they want to embarrass these guys a little bit. I think you're going to see a lot more heart, a lot more energy, a lot more attitude from this team. And I don't think they lose this game at all.
Good stuff, Scott. Appreciate you joining in today, man. As always, it's always good talking to you here on Birds 365. Make sure you guys follow him at S Grayson Fox 29. Scott, we'll be watching your work, brother. We appreciate you joining today. We'll talk to you later.
We kept you late. I apologize, Scott, but you're so engaging. It's your fault. It's your fault. The discussion is so engaging. So I apologize, but thank you.
No
Scott.
problem.
Thank you, brother. There's Scott Grayson joining us right here on Birds 365. Great stuff there from Scott Grayson. We got plenty of stuff to talk about here. We got an hour left to go here on a Football Friday. We will dive into some of the key matchups for Eagles versus Giants this weekend and what it looks like and maybe what that game's going to go. We got a super chat we will get to. John, we got a viewer over on Facebook, a Giants fan. We don't get a lot of Giants. We get a lot of Cowboy fans. We get a lot of
like a good
fans.
Giants fan.
We don't get a lot of Giants fans. Here's Anthony Desposito.
Well, they've been down for a while. So
he says, Giants fan here. What's your opinion of Jackson Dart? And are you concerned the Giants found their guy? Well, John's not. John doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't get it. Well, no, I mean, he's played better than I thought he'd play early in his career. So I give him credit. I'm always I'm not a big fan of the Jackson Dart style Baker Mayfield. Vic compared him to Baker Mayfield because I think a lot of it is off schedule stuff. And I don't know, you can't count on it week to week. But it's given the fan base, the long suffering fan base, some optimism. And look, he's better than what they had, and he's better than what they had recently. It's been a long time. Giants are 2 or 5. The Giants have started 2 or 5 or worse in 8 consecutive seasons. Man, they haven't won here since 2014, I believe. I mean, they've been bad for a long time, and you can trace it all back to moving on from Tom Coughlin and Jerry Reese and just the constant missteps in the front office and hiring coaches. But, Vic said they got it right. Vic Fangio. Now, part of that is Lou Holtz probably, blowing it up a little bit. But I think there's some reason for some optimism. So that's positive.
There you go. Good stuff, Anthony. Thanks for checking in, brother. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate everybody being here. Here's a super chat from my guy, Philip. What's up, Philip? Appreciate it, man. He says, just my opinion. Smitty would be regarded as a top 10 receiver in ball if we targeted him more.
Yeah, it's difficult here. To get targeted more, you'd have to be like a clear wide receiver 1.
And in he's got 2 things against him. He's a wide receiver 2, and he's in a run-first offense.
Exactly.
So
and plus, I do think his size comes into an effect, and I mentioned this. If he is a wide receiver 1, say somewhere else in a high volume offense, and he's catching 110 balls, is he going to hold up? I don't. The toughest 170. He's not even 170 pounds. Let's be honest, but toughest 170-pound guy that I've ever seen, but he's still 170 pounds.
Yeah, he's a tough dude. There's no doubt.
And and you've seen him banged up. He was banged up in between plays and feeling it. Imagine if you have the Puka Nacua traffic. Puka's this big, giant receiver, physical. Yeah. You can do the B inserts with him where they insert it.
He is a tough dude.
And that's what I'm saying. Puka got hurt. Puka missed the game.
Yeah, right. So even if you're tough, sometimes that's just mentality. It doesn't matter. The body might not hold up. Good comment, Philip. I happen to agree in terms of his talent. He's got he's a very talented player.
Skill wise, he does everything. He's great, great route runner.
Hands. We got Kelly Green this week. Do you remember, John? One of my favorite Devontae Smith catches of all time. Back of the end zone, I believe it was versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were wearing the Kelly Green jerseys, but the very back of the end zone, it almost looked like Hurts overthrew the ball. And Devontae goes up with one arm and just brings it in and toe taps at the back of the end zone. That was just So he's got all the skills, no doubt, but he doesn't get the ball all that much. He doesn't. So we'll see. Philip, appreciate the super chat there. One more super chat. Dank, you read my mind, my friend. I wrote it down right on my little Post-it note here. I had to ask John about this. I know we're a football show, and we will get into Eagles-Giants matchups. Don't you worry. Dank says, your thoughts on the NBA gambling scandal?
We probably need a 4-hour show. It doesn't surprise me at all, number one. I think it's coming for every sport. I think it was a mistake to allow sports gambling so openly and around sports, because the assumption that people aren't going to get involved in that is a specious one. Not that they weren't before, but obviously if you have rules against it, and there's still rules against it, obviously Isaiah Rodgers, but you've made it too easy. And to assume that especially young people, and most athletes are young people by nature, are going to be able to avoid that pitfall is sort of comical to me. Now, I think the NBA is probably the most easily they've had gambling scandals back to City College of New York in the 40s or whatever. It's probably the easiest to manipulate. But if you think about it, baseball is pretty easy to manipulate. You get an umpire, that's pretty easy to manipulate.
Football would be all that
Football
hard.
is pretty easy to manipulate if you get a quarterback just throwing balls. Did Carson Wentz manipulate? I don't know. I don't.
Carson Wentz, the FBI is coming.
No, I'm joking. No,
No,
Carson. But I just meant he played poorly. But a lot of things factored into that. But yeah, I mean, it is a scandal waiting to happen in every sport, and certainly there've been already, quite a few, decent number of gambling suspensions in the NFL, and certainly they haven't gotten them all. Now, if you're going to reach the level of this, which is crazy, and being involved with the New York mob and all that, I don't know about that, but yeah, it happens. It'd be naive to think it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in some of those conversations in those halls.
By the way, it was a great moment on ESPN this morning, on Greenberg's show, whatever. They're having this discussion about gambling. I forget the name of the show. That's why I mean whatever. And it might have been yesterday or today. So they're talking about the NBA gambling scandal. And, Greenberg's mentioning at one point ESPN ignored all gambling, all of it. And that was a company policy. And now it's all over the place, obviously.
Right.
They're like everybody else.
It's all over.
And right as he's saying this, the Cryon's got this betting thing up there at the bottom of the screen as he's discussing this, and then they quickly removed it. Like, it's absurd. It's absurd to think that this wasn't going to be a problem.
Well, every big sports league is in bed with every big gambling company. Let's call
it's not going to end well.
Yeah, it ain't going to end well. I mean, there's a lot of money there. I'm not saying that I don't understand why they do it, but there will be ramifications to that, no doubt about it. The one thing I thought was interesting too, John. I mean, that we're awfully close to LeBron James in this too. I mean, I know I'm not accusing LeBron of anything. I'm just saying you had the one coach who was with him.
Yeah, there's like 4 teams that I expected everything bad in the NBA to happen to the Sixers. At least they haven't been connected to it yet. But I'm not saying they're. It's a shit show, man.
Yeah, but apparently one of the coaches in one of the court docs, it said, the coach who basically told somebody LeBron was going to be out of game, take the other team, all this money. I don't know. I mean,
I mean, it's so easy. It's so easy to manipulate games. It's so easy. And
Did
if
you?
you get under the thumb of bad people, and they're going to take advantage of it.
What do you mean by
Oof.
that?
Well, I mean, again, it was not a big game. There was a high profile, evidently poker games where the New York Mafia was
Oh,
fixing
yeah.
things,
Yeah,
and
so
then people get in debt with the Mafia.
yeah, which is not somewhere you want to be.
Yeah. And they say, "Hey, what's going on with your team?" And people get to take advantage of that. Yeah, it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. It is. I will say I find the timing of the charges also, like, everybody's flawed in this. The timing of the charges coming from the Justice Department is also raises an antenna. You couldn't do it. You're doing it opening day. That doesn't pique anybody's interest.
Oh, you mean for the coming out, as the NBA kicks
It's
off.
like, come on, you couldn't do it in August, and they'll argue, well, this is when we got the shut up. It happened. That's a coincidence that's too coincidental.
What would you be insinuating there? Just like doing it then for maximum impact type of thing?
Yeah, political gain.
Yeah.
Look at yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with it, Dank. It is a big story, man. And John, as John said, not surprised, but we will see who else is involved, how big it goes, how many leagues are involved. We will see. We will see. Dank, appreciate the super chat, brother. Good stuff there. We are going to get into some of the matchups today. I want to thank everybody for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button, everybody. Week number 8. Then we're going to have an Eagles bye week. All right. Is everybody going to be all right in the bye week? We're not going to have Eagles football for a week. You guys going to be all right? Is everybody going to be good? I tell you what, even when we had the Thursday game, that Sunday, I'm looking around. I watched all the football, but so we'll see. We got the bye week coming up after Eagles versus Giants. Then we got a gauntlet a little bit after that, and as John pointed out yesterday, even that Cowboys game is going to be a tough one, after with that offense playing the way they are. Dak Prescott, John, playing like an MVP candidate right now through 7 games.
Yeah, he is. His team's not good enough, so he's not going to be in the conversation. But if they get good enough, I mean,
well, it's interesting you brought up because I was thinking we were like 2 games ahead of them, but that tie actually helps them. They're only
they're
one
only game behind in the loss
game and a
column.
half back. They're game and a half back in the East right now.
Yeah, the loss column is the key there. So they're a game back in the loss column.
Who
they're
do they
very
have
close
this weekend? They have the Broncos, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
So, I mean, that game in Dallas could be for the NFC East lead at that point. If they keep winning, but they're very inconsistent because the defense isn't good. Got better against Washington. They played, they shipped it up a little bit, which they deserve credit for. They're Matt Eberflus typical zone team. And they played a lot of man coverage, probably suits their corners better. Deron Bland had a pick 6, as he was famous for at one point. Trayvon Diggs as well. So they figure out things on defense a little bit. They're going to be difficult to deal with, but hey, they traded Micah Parsons. I can't get over that still. But their offense is very good, very good. And let's be honest, it all stems off just what I was talking about. Bad quarterback, it's a quarterback play. Everybody's elevated by good quarterback play. And I don't care how much you hate him, Dak Prescott is playing well. As good as any quarterback in this league right now.
Be careful. Look, John, this is what you get whenever you say that. Lito says, Zander, go be a Cowboy fan already.
I know.
Lito, did I hurt your feelings, Lito? Because I told you Dak Prescott's playing good.
Yeah, I know. It's so ridiculous. Why do you want people to lie to you?
I don't know. People love to be lied to, John. They love to be lied to.
It's so bizarre to me. He's playing well. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to fall on your head. I'll tell you when he's playing well. I'll tell you when he's playing poorly if he starts playing poorly. Right now he's right there with, some of the quarterbacks you don't think about. Everybody, Sam's one of them. Matthew Stafford's one of them. He's in the conversation for playing the best quarterback play so far during the season.
Yep, no doubt about it. Good stuff there, John. Eagles Giants. Let's go into some of the matchups in this football game for the Eagles and the Giants. Obviously, Giants beat us up pretty bad in New York 2 weeks ago on a Thursday night. Cam Scatterboo, Jackson Dart. Let's start right there, John.
Cam Scatterboo.
Run defense, John. Wasn't great in that game. Cam Scatterboo was running all over. I heard Zach Bond on a podcast. I think it was the Bussin' with the Boys podcast, and they were like, what's his name? Damn, I'm blanking on the guy's name who brought up Cam Scatterboo, and Zach Bond literally was like, man, that he said it's one of those guys where you see how hard he hits on tape, but you can't prepare for it until he hits you, and so Zach Bond tipping his hat, giving him some respect to Cam Scatterboo. Maybe Lita will be mad at Zach Bond too for that. But you get Nakobe Dean John back, and you get Jalen Carter back for this matchup versus the Giants, which, in my opinion, that's going to make all the difference in the world, or at least a big difference on that defensive side of the ball. What do you see in that matchup?
Well, yeah, and the impact of Jalen Carter. I think everybody's disappointed that Jalen Carter hasn't been taking that next step to where he's one of the best defensive players in football. But I think anybody who denies his impact on the field is silly. I brought that up last week before the big play in Minnesota, where some people were taking some shots at him. And I'm like, boy, that's not the week to do it. When you saw the impact of that loss with the Giants, I mean, and how they were different without him, I didn't think that was the proper time to bring up the issues with Jalen Carter, which are real. He hasn't played as well as anyone has expected, but again, he's the most important defensive player on their team. And he's the guy who people game plan for. So when he's out there, it's a big freaking difference. Simple as that. Just his presence alone is a big difference. And it's obvious when he's not out there. So I kind of don't get the mindset behind that thought process.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think it's going to be a good one. I think Jalen Carter makes all the difference in this game. Even in the way Dart was scrambling, John. Like how many times in that Thursday game did it look like they had him dead to rights, and he just scoots away and picks up a first down or runs outside? I feel like Jalen Carter is going to make a big difference, even in that too, even in the contain of the quarterback.
Well, the contain is more of a team thing, more of a you have to rush as a unit, not as an individual, because obviously as gifted as Jalen Carter is athletically for his size, he can't run down Jackson Dart. You have to pin him in, and that takes help from your teammates. But certainly from a standpoint of getting that pass rush and getting him off his spot, Jalen Carter will be a big impact on that. Pinning him in, though, that's got to be a team deal, man. You gotta stay disciplined, and that's tough. You see it all over the league. I mean, now I think there's more mobile quarterbacks than not. You saw it with Justin Herbert. Nobody thinks it's Justin Herbert last night.
Yeah, he can move.
He was killing them.
Yeah, he
because they were so undisciplined on the pass rush. So all these guys are like that almost. Certainly more than half. And Jackson Dart's one of them. So you got to be pass rush has got to be very disciplined this week.
John, right to the other side of the ball real quick on the matchup. If you got no Cam Jurgens out there, you got, Dexter Lawrence. Do you think Brian Burns is going to play? I think he missed again.
It's big. Yeah, he missed it. He's missed. You know
Too
that
serious.
for another. That's another thing. For those complaining about injuries, another game where the other team is more injured than you. So I don't want to hear that. So the DNPs were Brian Burns most notably. So he's dealing with a hip injury, but also Javon Holland, Paulson Adebo, Chauncey Golston, and then a bunch of DJ Davidson, a bunch of limited guys as well. So that's a wait and see. But if they don't have Brian Burns, they're
Big
in
loss.
trouble.
Yeah, Brian Burns having a hell of a season. I think he had 2 sacks versus us in the Thursday night game. So Brian Burns having a really good season. We got to keep an eye on if he's out there. But at the end of the day, I mean, they still got the guy in the middle. You know, Brian Burns doesn't line up on Brett Toth. He lines up on the outside. And Dexter Lawrence is going to play in the football game. Advantage Dexter, okay?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But Dexter's been dealing with some things as well, and he's not having the typical year that he has, similar to Jalen Carter a little bit, different style, but he's not playing up to the level he typically does. I don't think he has a sack this year, Dexter
No, he
Lawrence.
doesn't. He doesn't have a sack.
So he's been dealing with some physical ailments as well. But I mean, I also saw this week that he's the most double teamed player in the NFL on the defensive front, which is understandable because you need to move him if you want to run the football at all. Yeah, he's tough to deal with. North Carolina guy. He and Jordan Davis, they're both North Carolina guys, and obviously they're they play each other twice a year. They're very close. They check in on each other, make sure. But he's the best nose tackle in football by a pretty wide margin. So, even when Cam Jurgens is out there, it's advantage Giants. It's
It might be advantage Giants every team he plays.
exactly.
Except maybe Creed Humphrey, who might be able to handle him better than anybody. But yeah,
that's what I mean. So that's just one of those deals where I say every week, all NFL teams have good players, and he's one of them. But it's a bigger advantage with Brett Toth. So it's going to be Brett Toth and Tyler Steen, or Brett Toth and Landon Dickerson. He gets double teamed 61.4% of the time. I think that'll go up this week.
Yeah. Well, John, we just went to both sides of the trenches, and through 7 games going into week 8 here, if you had to ask me, what concerns me about the Eagles is that the common football knowledge of games are won in the trenches. And I haven't seen the Eagles dominate on either side of the trenches like we're used to seeing, especially on the offensive side, but on both sides. I mean, even the defensive line hasn't dominated games at all, or really even, made a huge impact on games. And that's probably where I think the Eagles really got to try and, get it together. Not easier said than done. I'm not even being critical. I'm just saying I'm used to them dominating those areas, and it gives you such an advantage in football. They don't really have that right now through 7 games, at least in my opinion. They don't.
Well, I think it's understandable more on the defensive side because of the losses they incurred. But now that Brandon is back, it's less explainable on the offensive side but you add in the banged up nature of Dickerson, who called himself 70 to 75% out of his 100% that he could be. So he's not even talking about a normal 100%, 100% being banged up. He's 70 to 75%, if that makes sense, which it doesn't. He's not healthy is the point. Cam hasn't been healthy and now is dealing with a knee on top of getting back from back surgery, which is obviously serious. But the players are still good. Defensively, you lose, big time players with Milton Williams, who's playing great in New England. Josh Sweat, who's playing great in Arizona, even though they lose every game by 2-3 points. Brandon Graham you didn't have, but now he's back and we'll see how quickly they can get him ramped up. They lost a lot on that defensive front. And they haven't been able to replace those two big guys to the extent, because remember, it's not only about replacing them, it's about, you had last year had Milton Williams and Moro Ajomo. This year you have Moro, who's playing pretty well, but again, if you
lost Milton Williams, who by the way who's having a great year in New England,
a great year, and
I'm happy for Milton, honestly.
So when you say, with Alex Hunt, you can say the pick six, he's starting to get things. Well, he's not Josh Sweat, and last year you had Josh Sweat and Alex Hunt. So, it's been a big downtick, and then the fact that as we've talked about, everybody's talked about, Jalen Carter's not playing up to the level that he played last season. That's fair to say as well.
Yep. Johnny Mac, we're getting some more matchups here. Something I want to bring up that the chat wants to talk about, and I actually meant to ask you about it in the open. This was floating on Twitter. I'm not really one to buy into some of the Twitter stuff, but I do want to show you this. And Jake Rosenberg commented on it. Taylor Luan put this up yesterday on Twitter. I'll play the video for you.
Yeah, yeah.
The Eagles Jet. Now, I think Jake Rosenberg is in these comments somewhere, if I could find it. And he said in there, I know whose jet that is. Whose jet is that? And two, what the hell is it doing in Tennessee, John?
It's a business guy's jet. I don't think he wants it known out there. It has nothing to do with, first of all.
Well, that's what I asked you for, because I want
to how he doesn't go to wherever
places he's going to trade.
I mean, that Zoom exists, phones exist. You don't have to spend a million. So there's somebody, and sometimes Jeffrey uses that plane and things like it has nothing to do with player acquisition. Nothing. Zero.
No. So all fake news for anybody that says Jeffrey Simmons or any of the other Titans players are coming to Philly.
That jet being there has nothing to do with that.
That's what I was looking for. Good clarity on that, but that was what was floating around. A lot of people talking about that. So good stuff there. John, let's keep rolling on the matchups this week. We just talked about the trenches. Is this a game, John, where Saquon Barkley could get going?
Every game is a game that he could get going.
Will he get going? Do you expect him to get going?
Well, probably not. We just talked about it. I mean, it's Dexter Lawrence in the middle against Brett Toth. Probably not. This is not the game. But again, was last week the game you would get going in the under center play action passing? I didn't have that on my bingo card. And they did it. But it doesn't, on paper, this doesn't look like the week that last week was, with a team that struggles against the run typically and doesn't have big bodies and doesn't have the talent or the ability to stop the run consistently. The Giants do. So maybe that means they will get the running game going.
Maybe they do. Or maybe they become a passing team, John. It feels like we're getting closer and closer to that, honestly. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but part of me would like to see it.
Well, I don't think, it depends. I mean, can you keep it at the level? Like, to me, it's about efficiency. The numbers weren't crazy from a passing standpoint last week. They were just effective with everything.
They're pretty good, though. I mean, they were only 23 attempts, but at the end of the day,
that's number one. They only threw it 23 times. I mean, that's not a high volume passing. They were just really effective.
Yeah.
On those.
You know what I also don't like about last week, John? Not that I don't like it, but I think it's something to be mindful of when you're talking about consistency and week in and week out. To have 326 yards passing on 19 completions clearly shows you had a lot of shot plays in there. And shot plays are great, but they're not necessarily something that you can have consistency week in and week out or build an entire offense around. They're something you want to have, but they're not, they can't be the bread and butter. So I'm
Well,
curious
there'll be
to see how they
certain
evolve from
teams
there.
there will be certain teams that don't allow you to do that and just play the cover 2 all day.
Right,
And
right. Keep you in front.
so, yeah, I mean, that was a career high in yards per attempt by Jalen Hurts. No surprise. I mean, yeah, career high is a career high. You're probably not going to do it again soon. So, yeah, that's definitely an outlier. Like I said, I always say, if you want to look at individual players and statistics and get the best indication, take out the best game and take out the worst game, and then look at those numbers in between. And then you have probably the realest interpretation you can get.
Yeah, good stuff there. Denise asks a good question. She says, not sure why it's so important to label the Eagles as a running or passing team. Why can't they be balanced offense that AJ has been making a case for since last year? Well, Denise, I think it's elevated this year because of the way they won last year in such a dominant fashion and so one way. They dominated in the run game week in and week out. The quarterback only threw for 2,900 yards. Like that's a crazy number for an NFL quarterback. And I'm not even criticizing them for it. I'm just saying that's how dominant we were in the run game. And I think that's why it's kind of the conversation is so much more prominent at this point.
Yeah, well, I think if he has 32 coaches, they all want to be balanced. I mean, that's lip service. You generally have an identity. And sometimes, more often than not, it's about necessity. If you're behind, you have to throw the ball. If you play from the lead all the time and you're closing out games, which the Eagles were doing last season, you're generally going to run the ball. At the end of the day, people get tired of Jalen saying it, and it's all about efficiency. So, are you efficient? Last week they were to a really high level. Most weeks they haven't been.
We'll see. John, where do you think the Eagles have a big advantage in this game versus the Giants?
Everywhere. I mean, they're just more talented than the Giants, but it's the NFL. They lost to them already.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you're talking about Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, little Jordan Humphrey. Or he gouged him the first time. He's a practice squad player. I saw they were playing Bo Collins out in Denver. Theo Johnson. Yeah, I mean, that's why we were also shocked they lost there, because you don't even have Malik Neighbors. But Scatterboo and Dart have given them some juice. I think that's fair to say. But I think the Eagles should be better prepared for it. And like I said, they haven't won here since 2014. So I would be stunned if we see a repeat. It's not a very good football team.
No, it's really not.
But they're starting.
One of their best players in Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, that's their best offensive player. Certainly their best skill position player. Andrew Thomas is probably their best offensive player, but certainly their best skill position player by a wide margin. And he's not even there.
Yep, good stuff. Here's go to Menifee here. Menifee says, what, if anything, do you expect Vic to do to address the mobility of Dart? We talked about that a little bit, kind of a collective, but
yeah, I think everybody deals with this in this league because it's so difficult to deal with, and there's so many quarterbacks that are mobile now, and it is a pain in the what to deal with. And you saw it last night. If you're watching football last night with Justin Herbert, people don't even consider him mobile. And he was gouging the zone looks because, the man looks, because players are turning their backs, and he would just take it up the middle for big gains. And there's so many guys around the league that can do that and Dart's at the higher end of it as far as mobility. And he patterns his game. He's been honest after Jalen Hurts. That's the issues that Jalen gives to other teams as well. But number one, you have to be very disciplined. You have to keep them in the cage, so to speak. And that relies on not one player, like to your point about Jalen. He can't stop them from running. But if they keep them in the cage, they keep them in the pocket, everybody's disciplined, everybody stays in their pass rushing lanes, you can do it. But the minute somebody freelances, the minute somebody gets pushed out of their lane, guys like that can hurt you. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it is. John, last week you were pretty confident that the Eagles were going to beat the Vikings. You seem confident they're going to beat the Giants again. Which game are you more confident in?
This game, because I mean, I was very confident last week, but it was on the road. It wasn't a tough place to play. Now they hadn't completely gone off the rails yet, like last night. So this game, I mean, like I said, the Giants have lost 9 straight on the road overall. They haven't won here since 2014, as I mentioned. The Eagles are 12-1 in their last 13 games at Lincoln Financial Field. I mean, do the math. Giants ain't winning this game.
I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening, man. I do like I like them. I got to say, I like the mentality and the approach of Dart. I think he's got the swagger, if you will, to be able to manage,
I agree. I like those types of guys, and Baker's the best example of that. But swagger's not. I'd rather have talent than swagger.
No, me too.
They're both talented.
I think when you have a shitty team, when you have a shitty team though, and like you're just outclassed in talent, that helps. In my opinion, it does.
Well, yeah, it doesn't hurt. But, I think people pay too much, put too much stock into that. I'd rather have the better team. The Eagles have the better team.
Yeah.
And they had the better team that got caught once already sleeping. And that's another point in their favor from the standpoint. It was 2 weeks ago when they got embarrassed. And if they let that happen again, that would be bad. So I think they're going to be focused in on this one, and I think it's going to be over pretty quickly. I think, and by that I mean not that there won't be bad moments, but you get a 2-score lead, and Giants are playing from behind, and it's going to be a crap show for them.
Yep. No doubt about it. We'll see how it shakes out this weekend, John. I got to say to you, John, I think you're a little sleeping on them, though. I mean, they beat the Chargers. They beat the Eagles, and if not for a fourth quarter epic collapse, they had the Broncos dead to rights last week. Yeah, I mean,
I agree, but I don't believe in the Broncos as much as some people do.
Man, me neither. But
so again, I mean, they haven't, and it's not Jackson Dart's fault, but they haven't won in Philly since 2014. The Eagles are 12-1 in their last 13 games at Lincoln Financial Field. The Giants have lost 9 straight on the road. They would have broken that streak if they could have kept the 19-point lead in the fourth quarter. Bottom line is they didn't. I mean, and they're 2-5 or worse for the 8th consecutive season. I mean, like if you're scared of that team, where's Howard? Get a dog, I mean, this is the NFL. It's not, you're not going to have that wide disparity you have in college where you go into certain games and you're going to win the good teams. But this is as close as it gets. And then you're talking about the New York Giants sweeping the Eagles. And 2 weeks after the Eagles know they showed up and didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to. I just don't think they're.
This is the least scared you should be. this season.
Scared, John. We're talking about football. Come on, man. I don't care. I mean,
I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking to the fans. This is the least scared you should be in the NFL. Barring, backup quarterbacks or something like that.
Well, I'll say to any fan out there, nobody should be scared. Okay, it's football. It's inconsequential to your life, everybody. It's fun.
Well, it should be. It should be inconsequential to your life, but it's far too consequential for most people.
I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. We're talking about football here. It's like the guy who comes in here crying because I said Dak Prescott's playing good. He's playing
if a team winning or losing a game affects your mood, it's time to get help.
Well, then a lot of people might get the only game that affected my mood, honestly, was that damn last Giants game. I was pissed after that. That was more had to do with the shows.
Well, I'm just saying, from a personal sense, like you have no control over your favorite team. I mean, accept it. So, it doesn't matter if you cheer harder or you wear a certain outfit or, none of that matters. So just enjoy the ride.
Here's Brian Fleming. He says, then I need severe help.
Enjoy the ride, man. For long term, I don't know how old Brian is or how long he's been an Eagles fan, but
I don't think he's a young man.
This is the best. Well, then he knows this is the best era of Eagles football ever. Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. It's going to end at some point. Cyclical. That's what pro sports are.
Yeah, they are. Here's Roll Philly. He claps back. J-Mac, if a sports team doesn't affect your mood, get help.
No, that's incorrect.
Oh, that's classic.
That is incorrect. Why would it affect your mood from a logical standpoint? Anybody?
Well, because
Philly dogs.
Roll
Philly dogs. What is the Eagles winning or losing on Sunday? Do you still have to do what you have to do in your life, in your personal life? You still got to go to work. You still, if you have a family, you still got to deal with your family. I always bring up Diana Rossini, because her husband's an Eagles fan, and she put down her foot when he'd get upset. No, we're not doing that in this house. You can't, if you got kids.
I agree completely, but I will say this: I do think there is a level of both sympathy and empathy that exists with fans who spend time, spend money, and they create an attachment to something that they feel connected to. You know what I mean? And that's at the end of the day, that's part of life too. Where you spend time.
I know they're connected to it. I'm just saying it doesn't affect their lives. That's all. I think it's healthier if you realize that. That's all.
Yeah, well, I certainly do, but to each his own, and I understand where people coming from. Good stuff, everybody. Appreciate everybody for being here today. John, what are the other key matchups in this game that you think are going to have a big one on the Giants? They don't have great receivers, so I would say the cornerback too could be an issue. But
I'm more interested to see who's playing, like Ja'Cory Bennett.
Is it going to be Ja'Cory? You think?
Well, Ja'Cory, they can activate. Remember, they have 52. So if they activate Brandon Graham and Ja'Cory, they'd have to make a roster move, which is easy enough, but that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, I mean, he could, Adoree', it's pretty clear is going to be not going to get through the protocol because, again, he's not a quarterback or high profile enough to get through the protocol in the week. And yes, that's a shot at the NFL. So he's not going to be available. So Caley has not sort of taken the bull by the horns with his opportunities. So there's a thought that maybe you want to just throw Ja'Cory, who's finally healthy, in theory, into the deep end of the pool and see what he can do. So I'm more interested in that. But either way, I'm with Howie on this one. I said it. He considers cornerback a strength because of Quinyon and Cooper. I agree with him. There aren't too many teams that can roll out Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. So I've never bought that narrative that they were having, that was a position of need. Now, if you compare it to last year, again, the historic team, and he had Slay on top of it, yeah, they're not as good. And Isaiah. They're not as good. That I agree with, but I never considered it a weakness because of the presence of the other two. So to me, it's more interesting that whether they'll use Jacorian and try to get him involved. But either way, again, if you're worried about Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, and company, and if they use little Jordan Humphrey again, or Jalen Hyatt, or Bo Collins, you know, all of a sudden you got Detroit coming up and Green Bay coming up, and there's receivers all over the place. Enjoy this one from that standpoint.
Yeah. John, Jalen Hurts has 3 straight weeks of 280 or more in passing, 280 versus the Broncos, 283.
You like that?
3. No, I'm just bringing it up.
I'm
What do you
joking.
think of the receiver matchup? What do you think of the receiver matchup, Eagles versus the Giants corners? Because
Well, the Eagles always have an advantage there.
I know, but will they take advantage of it? So they seem to be streaky in that regard.
Well, yeah, they are what they are. You're going to have you're not because you had an efficient game, which you averaged 14 plus yards per pass, which was a career high for Jalen Hurts. It's not going to be like that every week. We've been through this last year. You're going to have the 130-yard games. And you're going to have, lately it's been spiking in a positive way for the passing game. But they're not going to be, they're going to have those out. They're going to have, I won't even call them outliers because they're pretty consistent. They're going to have that games where they don't throw for a lot of yards. And that usually coincides with the running game getting going. So you give a little, you take a little if they get the running game going. And that's where the circumstance and the personality of the game comes in, which people don't like that but that's the reality of it. You're not running the ball, you got to throw it. If you're running the ball well, you're probably not going to throw it as much. And that's what Jalen constantly talks about is efficiency. Well, if you're going to throw it 20 times, be efficient throwing it 20 times. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. It's frustrating when they aren't. They seem to be getting a little bit better. Maybe the play action, sprinkling that in has helped them. You should have an opportunity against the Giants defensive backs, but that's not the problem. The problem is the pass rush. And Brian Burns has 9 sacks, but is he going to play? Abdul Carter's got everybody. Well, he's got 23 pressures. Dexter Lawrence, one of the best defensive tackles in football. Kayvon Thibodeau can get home. They have a very good front. That's the matchup on defense, especially if Burns plays. If Burns plays, it's much. Doesn't play, it's much easier. But
they are one team that is positioned to lose an edge rusher a lot more than other teams, though. Obviously Burns is a great player, but they do have Abdul Carter, and so.
Yeah, they're gifted up front. They are very, very gifted on the defensive front, and that's
How much
the
do
big
they pay
advantage.
Brian Burns?
Quite a bit. I'd have to look it up. Yeah, he gets paid quite
5 year, $140 million.
Yeah,
so I guess he's looking at 20. That's a bargain, John.
He's a big time player, man.
$28.2 million average annual salary. That Micah Parsons. I know Micah Parsons is a great player, but 47. That's a bargain for Brian Burns, I think, at least.
Well, he's not Micah, but he's a good player. He's a good player.
Yeah, Micah leads the NFL in pressures right now.
That people get caught up in the sack number, and the sack number is great, obviously, but I mean, yeah, because he was on Dallas, it shouldn't be surprising. We just got yelled at for calling Dak Prescott having a good season for whatever reason. Eagles fans don't think Micah Parsons is worth it. He's worth it. As far as the cost of doing business in the NFL, it's him, it's Aiden Hutchinson in Detroit, it's Miles, but Miles is on a crappy team, and then the drop off starts, and not in order, any of those 3, but those are the 3 top guys, and then it drops off to sort of the second tier, which I would put the Jared Verses of the world, the Nick Bosa's, guys like that. Will Anderson, I think, is really good. Just looking at the edge rushers. Danielle Hunter, that's one of the Houston's got a quarterback and a pass rush, and they still stink. That's a bad job by that team.
Offensive line.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Awful. That offensive line.
TJ Watt, I miss. Max Crosby's second tier. I would put TJ used to be first tier.
I think he lost a step.
I'd drop him in the second tier now. I think Parsons and Hutchinson are having the best years.
Yeah, they are. My opinion, agreed. Hutchinson,
probably
on Monday night when Hutchinson, all I could watch was Hutchinson. Every defensive snap,
Yeah.
I'm like,
he's amazing.
Because he's just destroying. Now, he was on a backup tackle. I get it. But still, I mean, it was just fun to watch because he was just literally destroying that tackle.
Well, he plays so much too.
Yeah.
Like he's I have to look at, like, Max plays every play. Max Crosby. That's one of the things about Max too. Yeah, there it is. 406. Max Crosby, most snaps by an edge rusher. Aiden Hutchinson, 402. So he's right there. So that's a big part of it too, because you don't have to rotate as much. And when you're taking players like that off the field, obviously you're not going to be as good. So the conditioning is a big part of it as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Johnny Mac, yesterday we spoke a little bit about the Sixers. I will tell everybody now, I went back and rewatched a lot of the game.
BJ!
I'm in. I'm going to lock in this year. I'm going to lock in on the Sixers again, as I normally do, but I've been off for a couple years.
It's only one game. But
no, I know, but I'm not saying they're going to go and win the title. But I do, from your perspective, you gave me you were like, he's worth watching develop, that player, and that was an impressive performance by VJ. I'm in on the Sixers, everybody. I might even do some Sixers streams this year after the games, if it calls for it. But I don't know if the roster's built to go all the way.
No, well, not if the center can't move.
Yeah, and Paul George, man, I don't know.
Joel couldn't even jump in that game.
I know.
It was ugly to the point of, like, why is he out there? For PR purposes? Because people are upset when he can't play?
Are they trying to talk it up a little bit to maybe trade him? I don't know.
Well, it's not like other teams aren't watching the film and looking at it. I mean, the guy's shot.
The same thing we always say about the NFL is there's some bad GMs out there who.
Well, that's true. That's true. Well, I was saying it last night at some point. I was like, what is? Because Kevin O'Connell's one of those. The players, the health of the players comes first, guys. Which I don't want to. I'm cynical by nature, but it's the NFL. So I generally all coaches, and Nick does it too, and I kind of roll my eyes. I'm gonna be honest, but like you can't say that. And then when somebody you don't care about, like the backup quarterback, is getting destroyed, and it's not about the player's health anymore. I mean, Come on, dude. That's why I'm cynical to begin with. But in the case of Joel, obviously he's not a backup player. He's I don't think they're fooling anybody.
He's a role player on this team, though, isn't he? I mean, this team looks like it's Tyrese Maxey.
Well, not if they want to go to the NBA Finals, which they have a legitimate opportunity if Joel Embiid would be healthy, which he's not going to be, because Tatum's out for the season, Halliburton's out for the season, so. It's basically Cleveland.
Damn, is Hallie out for the whole year?
Yeah.
Well,
it's not.
It happened so late in the NBA Finals, so
it's not official. But I mean, he's not going to be back.
Yeah.
So,
that's there was a lot of those injuries last year in the NBA, wasn't it? I think somebody documented them all.
Yeah, Achilles, a bunch of Achilles.
Yeah, Achilles. I think did Lillard have one? I know. Those are tough injuries. I hate watching Achilles injuries.
So, and those are two of the significant teams. So you're talking about the Cavs, the Knicks, the Magic, maybe, and the Sixers. If Joel was healthy, but he's not, so it's not even worth talking about.
Yeah. Yep, no doubt. Good stuff, Johnny Mac. Great show today on a football Friday as we get ready for week number 8, Eagles Giants. John, your final couple thoughts on the show today. Let me make sure real quick. We got some super chats. Here we go. Brian Pumper. He says, yeah, nobody patterns their game after Jalen Hurts. That's a major cap. I just believe the Giants are a tougher team and we're weak sauce. 26-10 New York Giants.
Well, take it up with Jackson Dart. He's the one who said it. If
Yeah,
he's lying, I mean, what do you want from me, Pumper?
You can see it in the game too, can't you?
What do you mean? That's nobody patterned. He said he patterned his game after him. I didn't. Yeah, typical Pumper.
Yeah. Here's a team. NBA is a joke, even though I love the Sixers. Adam Silver even said, just watch highlights. You don't have to watch the games. Worst commissioner. Did he really say that? There's no way.
No, come on. He said a lot of younger people, that's how they ingest the product.
Right. They go on
which is
TikTok
the same as Major League Baseball and the same. I mean, that's the way. That's what people in the TV industry and the streaming are trying to figure out because younger people don't watch games. They watch highlights. That's what he was talking about. But feel free to criticize him as a commissioner. I don't care.
Yeah, no doubt. 18, good stuff. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts here on a football Friday. Week 8, Eagles Giants on Sunday, 1 p.m. game in Philly in Kelly green jerseys.
Eagles 33, Giants 17.
Whoa! That's almost what they did to us.
Yes,
You're saying
exactly.
that we flipped the script.
Not quite as bad. Flip the script.
J-Mac, I got to write that one down. 33-17. Wow.
NFL blowout.
I had 31-20 coming
Not
into
to the degree of the LA Chargers, but they will win the game handily.
Yeah, that was that game last night. Holy shit, that was ugly. Johnny Mac, great show, brother. Good score prediction, 33-17 for the Birds. We'll see how it goes. John, we'll talk to you on Sunday on the pre-half and post-game show. Thank you, brother.
All right, thanks all.
All right, thank you, J-Mac. There's Johnny Mac. John McMullen. You can follow him on X at JF McMullen, the #1 Eagles insider. That is out there. John McMullen. Happy to have him here on JAKIB Sports. What's going on, everybody, from JAKIB Nation? I'm in on the Sixers. All right. I'm in on the Sixers. My boy Sig reached out to me last night. We were talking some Sixers. I went after the show yesterday because we had talked about the Sixers in the morning. I'm like, all right, I loved this. I always thought about it. My favorite team growing up was the Sixers. It was I love the Eagles too, but it was always the Sixers. I was the biggest Sixer fan. I used to go to the games and I loved being a Sixers fan. I'm in for the year. I'm not saying I got lofty expectations on going to win a title, but I want to see what this new era looks like because I don't think Joel Embiid is going to be here that much longer. And I don't think Paul George is going to be here that much longer. And you got two young guards with a dominant backcourt right now. Well, it looks like it could be a dominant backcourt. Tyrese Maxey is what he is. I mean, he's a fucking stud. Tyrese Maxey is a absolute stud. And now you got VJ Edgecombe, who looks like he could be one of the better picks in the NBA draft last year. Shit, man. I'm in. I want to see this young backcourt develop. And look, Daryl Morey, I've been hard on Daryl Morey. And I still will be hard on him because I don't think he's done a very good job. But now's the time. Now's the time. You have an opportunity with two young players in your backcourt to, get them the right pieces to be able to build a good team. And by the way, those black Sixers jerseys that they released, that I'm so happy they released those things because that was my all-time favorite Sixer jersey. I had a young Iverson jersey. Which ones you like? Black and blue ones? Which one? What do you mean? I like the new ones that they're doing right now. By the way, Tyrese Maxey is a bargain. Joel Embiid makes $55 million and Paul George makes $51 million. I think Tyrese Maxey's making like 37. Yeah, you're talking about the one that they just released, right, Flex? Are you talking about you're not talking about the city black and blue one, are you? Yeah, you got Mizzou versus Vandy. Yeah, that's this weekend, Vulnerable. That's a good one, brother. I'll be watching. He said, Xander, you ready for Scar? I'm ready to spoil Vandy's game day and end the Pavia Cinderella story. I'm kind of over it, brother. Yeah, Jared McCain's coming back too. Jared McCain, he's coming back, so we'll see. Nah, you're talking about the one that Iverson wore, right? With the old school Sixer logo? Yeah, Flex, that's the best jersey the Sixers have ever had. That jersey is so fire. That jersey is so fire. Yeah, they got it in blue too. That's right, Sig. Iverson used to rock it in blue, man. It was like that royal Sixer blue, man. That logo is legendary. In fact, to spark off my year, I might have to go on and order one of those Sixers hats with that old logo. I might have to order the old logo hat. Oh, they got it. They got the perfect hat I want with that logo on a black hat. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I might have to make an order today. All right. I might have to make an order. Dirty Air says, I like nostalgia, but as a creator, I like to see new shit. Dirty Air, here's my problem. The new shit sucks, in my opinion. The new Sixers jerseys are trash. So in this case, it's like, I think they got like too modern with everything. Like those city jerseys they released a couple years ago, the black ones, they were fucking awful. Yeah, I'm always Mitchell and Ness. Sig Lord, I'm a Mitchell and Ness guy. This is my favorite Eagle hat. I'm a Mitchell and Ness guy, dude. I love the store down in the city. That is such a sick store. The Mitchell and Ness shop down in the city. That's legendary. I love that store. So yeah, I hate the modern Sixers jerseys. They're trash in my opinion. They're trash in my opinion. I just don't like them. They're blue, filla. It's not cool. It is what it is, bro. They're gonna make their money, you know. Yeah, very pricey, but I'd rather buy quality than cheap. But all right, everybody, what are you guys feeling on the game this weekend? Eagles Giants. What's the feeling on the game this weekend? What is the thought process from everybody on Eagles versus Giants this week? I told you 31-20 is my score prediction for the game. John had 31-17, or no, 33-17. Sorry, I don't know why he had 33. 17. I don't know where he got 33, but I got 31-20 in the game. I think Jalen Hurts has another big game, and I think he solidifies himself this year. You know, kind of quiets those couple week losses that we had, and shuts people up, including myself, which is a good thing. That's what I want. You know, I want Jalen Hurts to have a big game. So I think he's going to have a good game versus this Giants team this week. Let's see how it plays out. I'm going to go take some score predictions from the chat. Dirty Air, I feel like we should come in and wipe ass, but I have no idea anymore with this team. Come in and wipe ass. That is a good phrase there, Gary. Vulnerable says it's a dub. Time to get that lick back. I like that, Vitality. Get that lick back. I write that on my whiteboard. Get that lick back, baby. I like that. 34-14 Birds. 45. Spiko, you're in La La Land today. Spiko, are you okay? Loki, are you okay? You're in La La Land today, Spiko. Philly Don checking in. 34-21. But we have to keep Dart contained and not allow him to kill him with his legs. We got Jalen Carter out there, man. I don't think he's going to be running around. Wow, Texas T, interesting score. 21-3. So you think our defense is holding them to 3 points? Texas T, I appreciate it, but I can't ride your coattails on that one. I can't ride the coattails there, but I like the confidence. Tevis, what's up, brother? 24-9 Eagles. I like that score. 9, though, is bold. Our defense hasn't been good enough for me to do that. All right. Bumper says, Xander predicting another Hurts great game. Go play the lotto. Pumper, unlike you, I want to see our quarterback succeed. All right. I want to see our quarterback succeed. I don't know why just because you don't like the player, you should still want him to succeed. Okay. I like the player and I want him to succeed. I'll be critical of him when I believe he warrants criticism. 24-24 tie. Tommy T, get out. Tommy T, you're done for the day, Tommy T. You can't predict a fucking tie. 37. Wow, Flex, you're predicting a blowout, my boy. 34-13. All right, we got a lot of blowout predictions today. 41-13. I don't think the Giants are breaking 10 points. Holy shit. Fleming says we'll be up by 14 and at halftime and win by a point because we don't play two halves and Patullo is a re-ring. Yeah, he might be. You might be right about that. 28-10. Twiz goes 27-23. Another nail biter. I hate to say it, but Twiz is probably the most on board right now based on the first 7 games of the year. A lot of close games. All right. Oh, Tevis says, bold prediction, Ringo pick 6. Tevis, that's a blockable prediction. This is a blockable offense, my friend. Brian Pumper will like it, though. And my boy Tony, 27-14. Man, you got this defense showing out. I don't know. How many points did this team score last week versus the Broncos? I mean, they put up a lot of points. That Broncos D is no joke. They put up 32 last week on the Broncos. I don't know why you guys have 9 points and 3 points and 14 points and 8 points and 4 points and 6 points. And I don't know about that. I think they're going to score a little more than that. All right. Please just look for good for 4 quarters, boys, and I'll be happy. Brandon, they can't seem to get that going, man. They can't seem to go 4 straight quarters. Although last week was better. I think the offense was a little slow in the first half, but obviously picked it up. If Ringo has a pick 6, I'm coming with a $100 super chat. All right, then I'll be rooting for it then. All right. Is Bennett going to get the start? We don't really know. John was kind of still waiting. He didn't really have a chance to, didn't really opine on that. All right. 100% Z. I'm with you. All right. Curtis says, Z, the Giants have outgained us. Bully about 350 yards some of those games with Russell Wilson. Their defense stinks, but can the Eagles take advantage of it? Yeah, they couldn't last time. All right, so only 17 points. Frank, I'm kind of with you. I kind of said that early in the week where I just said, I think we're going to beat the shit out of them. And on Monday or Tuesday, Silly asked me, what do you think about the Giants coming up? I'm like, I think we beat their ass. It just feels like one of those Eagles games where they're gonna, re-solidify themselves. Certainly over the divisional opponent. Bold prediction, a defensive end will get it. It's crazy that that's a bold prediction, but I agree with you, Snake. I think this could be the game that happens. Every game is its own story. Bert, Dag, you sound like a John McMullen listener with that comment. No way the Giants beat us twice in the season. I hope you're right. Because if they do, the Giants fans will be insufferable. Xander, they got to leave it all out on the field. They got a bye week after. Hey, by the way, I talked to my mom I forgot to text you last night. I talked to my mom about the Broncos. She said good things. No, nothing really overwhelming bad. Regular, typical Ford, So, Abe, I think you're good to go. If you want to, Abe, I'll text you after the show today. And we'll chat it up about it. I'm not sure if you made the move yet, Abe, or anything, but I will reach out to you after the show today so we can discuss. Vulnerable, to go back to your super chat real quick. I think we're going to beat the shit out of South Carolina. I mean, I don't, I think Bam is playing really good football right now. So, BG 2 sacks, that would be bold. If we get 5 sacks, would you consider a defensive jersey giveaway? I'll do 2 jersey giveaways if they get 5+ sacks. I'll do 2. Take me to the bank, everybody. If we get 5+ sacks this week versus Jackson Dart, I will do 2 jersey giveaways in addition to if they hold them to under 20 and the Jalen Hurts 275. You hear me? I will do 2 additional jersey giveaways if we get 5+ sacks. How about this? It's got to be more than 5. Not 5 or more. 5+ is plus. Or you guys want 5? Let me guess. You want 5. Let me guess. Actually, how many? Let's look. I will go off Carson Wentz last night. How many sacks did Carson Wentz take last night? Because every time I looked at the fucking TV, it looked like Carson Wentz was going down last night. How many sacks did that stiff take last night? Let me look it up. Oh, the stupid Google stats don't give me it. 5. Oh, he had 5. 5 sacks for 27. Oh, no. All right, 5 or more. 5 or more. Man, that feels too easy for 2 jerseys. I mean, you know what they say about Santa. Somebody just called me Zander Claus again. You know what they say about Santa. You gotta be on the you can't be on the naughty list or else you're gonna get coal. You gotta behave to get Zander Claus. 5 feels light to me. 5 feels light to me. Brandon, backpedaling. You're right, Brandon. I am backpedaling a little bit. I still got to send out 2 jerseys. I owe fucking Eduardo, who won't take the Goddard. And I owe my girl Texas T. I got to get her a Quignon or a coupe. I'm trying to get her a Quignon or a coupe. By the way, some of the hats, remember I was telling people the hats were sold out? I think they started to send some because Brandon Howard got his and it told me they were out. So I don't know. Like Philly Don, let me know if you ever get your hat. Let me look that up real quick. I'll do that on the air right now because I want to get an update on this. You got extra medium 88? Spiko, yeah, I got a medium 88. Why? Why, Spiko? What can I do for you? What could I do for you, Spiko? Got so much coal, I made Germany jealous. Nice, Dank. Is my boy Philly Don in here? All right, Philly Don, it's saying Saturday delivery for you. It's so maybe the hat, maybe they did to send to Eduardo. Yeah, I think Ty's draft eligible. He's a junior, isn't he? I think he should stay in school another year, but yeah, Eduardo, he's legendary, bro. I fucking love him too. Eduardo, it's funny you said that. I had the same takeaway after the documentary. That dude is built exactly how you want a great athlete to be built. I mean, in terms of mentality, approach, everything he did, man. Like, I loved that doc. I thought it was really dope. I'm a Barkley guy, man. I tweeted out, Eduardo, after I watched it, Saquon is so much more than a great athlete. He's a guy you build entire teams and cultures around. I mean, that's where he is, man. I'm a big Barkley guy. Midnight greens are a little tougher for me, but I'll try and get you one. Yeah, Eduardo, I know you got kids. I don't have kids yet, but I do try and have, the empathy there to be able to see that, and I'm with you. I'm with you. Hey, Deshaw from Facebook. I love getting some Facebook viewers. He says, hey, what's up, brothers? How y'all doing this morning? What's up, brother? Appreciate you being here, man. Deshaw, what do you got this weekend? Eagles, Giants, 1 p.m., Kelly green jerseys. Trying to see what hat that is. What hat is on Deshaw? What logo is on Deshaw's hat there? I hope I'm pronouncing your name right too, bro. What do you got this weekend, Deshaw? All right. My email is Zander@JAKIB Sports. Zander@JAKIBSports.com. All you haters can direct your hate mail there. Like, who was that nerd today? Zander, go be a Cowboys fan. I can't hear you say Dak is having a good year. Seriously? Seriously, people? Do you guys not have any desire to look at the game that you spend so much time on objectively? I enjoy good football. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy good football. I like to watch football. I like to consume the stories from around the league. I like to watch who's having good years. I like to watch who's in the MVP race. I like to watch those things. Just because they're not on my favorite team doesn't mean I'm not going to watch it or consume it. All right. You guys are talking about fake guys. Honestly, JAKIB has been blowing up on Facebook right now. Our shorts over there, our reels, they're like, we had one get like 180,000 views. Some of them got 50, 60, 30, 20. We're getting a lot of views on Facebook right now. Abid, I think I'm going to do it, dude. I might do some Sixers streams this year. I grew up, I told you, man, I loved the Sixers. They were my favorite freaking team. By the way, I got to buy myself a Sixers hat with that old school logo. That old school Sixers logo is so fire, dude. Doing numbers with the boomers. That's true. The boomers. The boomers. Gotta love the boomers. Hey, we got a lot of boomers. I love boomers as far as I'm concerned. All right. Abid, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna order myself one. In fact, Abid, I might do that shit right now. Or maybe I'll drive down to the Mitchell and Ness store this weekend. Pick up a cheesesteak. All right. Pick up a cheesesteak. Hit the Mitchell and Ness shop. Oh, man, there's so many cool Sixers hats. All right, here's a question for you guys. And if you're not a Philly guy, maybe you won't have a good answer to this. But for people who are born and raised in Philly or are fans of all the Philly teams, who is the best branding, logo, color scheme, everything in Philly sports? Because honestly, and I don't think I'm saying this as a homer, I think the Flyers branding sucks balls. Sorry, Flyers fans. I think it's awful. I think it's literally terrible. But the Phillies logo and the Phillies branding is epic. I think it is, at least. The Sixers, red, white, and blue with the old school. I think the Sixers is sick. And the Eagles are the fucking Eagles with that sick green color. It's so notable. It's so memorable. It's the eagle, which is obviously the bird of our country. I think they're all good, man. Who is the best one? Dank says the Flyers. Dank, I don't even think you believe that. Brian says Phillies. Philly Don says Phillies. The Phillies is sick. I got to give it to him, man. It's sick. My pa, I told you, my dad's a Yankees fan, though, so I'm comparing to the Yankees. The Yankees are tough to top, whether you like them or not. Everywhere you go, you see a Yankee hat, man. Dayshaw says, as far as logos, like you said, Eagles. All right, Eagles are good, no doubt. I love the Eagles logo. Dirty Air says Phillies. I'm ready for a change with the Eagles. Dang, what do you mean? What do you mean, Dirty Air? What kind of change? Big Joe's a smart man. My pop has always been a Yankee fan. My pop grew up in the projects and, in the middle of PA, brother. He had 2 stations, and he was so north in PA that the stations weren't Philly stations. They were New York stations. So my dad was a little kid. He was delivering papers on the paper route, 8 years old, no father. And he would tune up the little, you guys know the dial-up radios, the little ones, the little handheld ones, the Sony little handheld radios. He still has it in our garage. But he said he used to tune that thing up every night. And that's how my dad loved media. My dad's been in media his whole life. He's always loved media. That's how I got into media, because my dad loves media. And, so he's been in it his whole life. But 8 years old, he would tune it up. He got the Yankees and the New York Giants. That's what he got, man. So I always get, people always get mad. Oh, you like the Yankees. I'm like, every kid who grew up with great respect for their father in some way or another likes the teams that their dad liked. No? In some way or another, you have at least some sort of affinity, whether it's for the team or it's through your dad himself. It's just the nature of the beast. You want to hear some hilarious story? Maybe I shouldn't say this story. All right. Maybe I shouldn't say this story. Yeah, I agree with this, Curtis. The new Eagle letter sucks. Trash. Permanent Kelly Greens and black and Kelly Green alternate. That would be dope. Gold, silver? I think silver is already in there, is it not? Wait, I want to go back to the comments on the logos. Who did it? Denny says Flyers. Phillies. I think Phillies are definitely good. The Sixers, I would say the Sixers old school logos were better. I'm not a whole fan of the new brand they got going on. Let me go to Deshae, by the way, who talked about it. I asked him about the game. Deshae says, I'd like to see Ja'Cory and Bennett start over Ringo. I'm worried about Andrew because he's out of position in coverage and missing too many tackles. We will win and improved our rushing defense with the Kobe Dean back. We will prevail 28-14. Deshaw, I like it. I like it. Good takeaways. Makuba, I think, be patient on, dude. I think he's showing some flashes. And as a rookie player, you're going to make mistakes. I think he's going to learn from some of those things. But Ja'Cory over Ringo, I don't know. Pick your pile of poop. You got a pile of poop here and another pile of poop here. Pick your poop. That's how I feel about the corner, too. Even with Adoree, Ja'Cory, Ringo, you got 3 piles of shit. All right? One stinks more than the other. Pick whatever pile you feel best about. Yeah, Detroit Lions. They do some cool things, the Lions. I got to give it to them. I like their branding as well. Guys, honestly, though, this is, in my opinion, if you're the Eagles, which obviously we are, that logo right there is superior to the eagle that they use right now. Now, some people won't agree with that. That's okay. But this logo to represent a team called the Eagles, in my opinion, is superior to the logo they have now. Just my opinion. Doesn't mean you got to agree with it. All right. Here's Brian Pump. Xander, you seen the vid of Billups walking out the courthouse? He wearing a Clutch Sports hoodie. La Mafia might be cooked. Damn, was he really? He is a Clutch Sports guy, isn't he? I know. I didn't see the video of him walking out. Billups courthouse. Let me look that up. Here, I got it right here. Here it is. Is that a Clutch Sports hoodie? Oh, yeah, it is. He's in Portland. Dang, they're in your neck of the woods, brother. That's TK Fresh. You might be a box of rocks, TK Fresh. TK Fresh, you might be a box of rocks. You might be a legitimate box of rocks. If you think this logo is an awful logo, you know absolutely nothing about logos. That is a fucking sick logo, dude. That is a sick logo. Are you kidding me? Wait. Oh, fuck. Where's my other Eagle hat? Like, are you absolutely out of your mind? Are you kidding me, bro? TK Fresh, you're a box of rocks if you think this logo stinks. He says, dude, that's trash, bro. TK, don't go into branding. Don't go into branding. Man, I'm going to keep this hat on. It's tight, though. Holy shit, my head's getting bigger, I think, guys. I think my head's getting bigger. Oh, man. I think my head's getting bigger. TK, I cannot believe you say that this logo stinks. What? Bro, there we go. What? Come on, man. That's the best logo in football right there. The fuck? I don't get how anybody objectively, you don't even have to be an Eagles fan, could look at that and say, yeah, that's bad. That's bad branding right there. Bro, what? What? That is fire, dude. The fire logo. It's the inflating ego. Is my ego getting too big, Waddington? I read a quote the other day. Where was it? Let me find the quote for you. Ready? Tell me who said this quote. Ready? Show me someone without an ego, and I'll show you a loser. Who said it, folks? Show me someone without an ego, and I'll show you a loser. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Oh my gosh. Having a healthy ego or high opinion of yourself is a real positive in life. I agree. You got to have a high opinion of yourself. If you don't, nobody will. If you don't, nobody will. John Madden, no. AJ Brown, no. Otani, no. T.O., no. J-Mac, no. Sounds like a Cilio quote. Nope. Wow, nobody got it. I thought you guys would get it instantly. Saban, no. Andy Reid, no. Sills, no. Siglord got it. Siglord got it. It's Donald J. Trump, folks. The President of the United States of America. Show me someone without an ego, and I'll show you a loser. Oh, my God. You guys can like Trump. You can hate Trump. I don't care. It doesn't bother me either way. But the dude is funny, all right? The dude is flat out funny. I don't give a shit what you think of him. Please, don't come. I don't need to turn this into a political show. Here comes Secunda. I don't care. He's a funny guy, all right? Whether you like him or don't like him. He says some funny shit, man. Show me someone without an ego, and I'll show you a loser. I mean, that is hilarious. All right? That is freaking hilarious. Yeah, he's a funny guy. So this shit about to go. I know, Flex, people legitimately can't handle even the name. They can't. They lose their mind, which is funny. Yepa, it's okay, buddy. Relax. Relax, El Yepa. You know I love you, Yepa. Relax. It's just a quote, folks. It's just a quote. Oh, man. That is funny. That is funny. TK. Oh, wait. TK Fresh. You're in Canada? That explains so much. No wonder you think this logo stinks. No wonder your takes are aligned with that of a shithead. You're a Canadian. Oh, man. It makes so much more sense now, TK Fresh. That is classic. That is classic. How many Canadians do we have in the chat? I love maple syrup. I'll give them that. How do you, Pumper? If you don't like maple syrup, you are legitimately a box of rocks. You are legitimately a box of rocks. If you don't like maple syrup clears. I can't even eat regular syrup. That Aunt Jemima bullshit tastes fake to me. I like maple syrup. Secunda. Canada over America with 3 Ks. All right, Secunda. I know. Is that your name? You're Kilgore. Okay. All right. See, I thought I knew that, but I don't know. They keep changing all these names. Wait, I got good maple syrup right here, bro. Look, I got my uncle grew up. His dad has a place in Vermont maple. I love maple syrup. Love maple syrup. But all right, original Philly. That's just a weird ass comment, dog. A weird ass comment, bro. What is up with y'all corn brains? Pumper says, did I miss a super chat? I might have. Here we go. Brian Pump says, the clock strikes midnight. The Jordan Brand glass slipper falls off. Kango gets creased. Wide receivers have a book club, and Hurts takes 7 sacks, throws 3 ins. Oh, come on, Pumper. When have you ever seen Jalen throw 3 interceptions? I think he's done that like once in his career. I think he's done that legitimately once in his career. Come on, man. Come on, man. Here's Matt NJ. What up, Matt? Vikings look like they could use another Philly legend, Tanner McKee. Vikings look like they. Oh, you sent it twice. Yeah, they could. They want to give us a number 2 overall, second rounder. I'll take it. Second rounder for Tanner McManning. Second rounder. I'm in. All right. Z, the 3-inch were they against the Giants? I thought he only did that once, though, didn't he? I think he only did that once. Here's Abe. Abe says, any chance you could get the QB school on? I'll reach out. I don't know how to reach out. I don't know him. I don't know of anybody who knows him, but I could try, Abe. I could try. I'll see what it'll do, if he'll come on or not. Talk about Jalen Hurts. My only problem with the QB school, Abe, and I like him a lot. I watch most of his videos. I feel like he only does like when there's a great game. Like sometimes I want to see breaking down a bad game so that not so that I can pick on somebody, so that I can learn what it looks like when they're doing bad. You know, like when Jalen has a perfect game, don't get me wrong, the tape is fun to watch, but at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, he made the perfect play every time. You know, great. He deserves a lot of credit. Sometimes I like to look at the other side of it too. So, I don't know. You know, as soon as Joe Whip, I don't even want to say that. We don't want to see that. That'd be awesome. I'll try, Curtis. I'll see. Oh, you talking about bringing him on, or are you agreeing with me that he should do when there's a bad game? You might be agreeing with me with that. Flex, his channel is good. I do like his channel. I won't lie. All right. I do like his channel. It is good. Does he, Abe? I'll check it out. Yeah, JT, his name is JT O'Sullivan. That's what it is. But most people know him as the QB school. So. Vulnerable says he's done a few of those bad games on Jalen. They're good watching. The perspective crossover on Jalen with you guys on the show is pretty similar. I got to check it out. Eduardo Dawkins is a tough dude. We've had Dawkins on, I think, on. Yeah, I think like we used to have him on when Sports Take was still a show. We had Dawkins on, but he's a tough guy to he's a tough guy to get. Saban, I really want Sills to get Saban. All right. I would love to get Saban on. Love Saban. Anybody who thinks Saban's coming out of retirement to go coach Penn State, I got a bridge to sell you. About to peep this dude NJ catching some dirty tilapia. Pump, I love NJ Fishing, man. He is so funny. I love his channel too. Nah, he didn't interview Gruden. Gruden kind of tough, I don't want to say blew him off, but he's, he does so many different things. He's like, I can't do it this week. I can't do it this week. Kurt, by the way, I told you I promoted Kurt Warner yesterday. Kurt was doing the game last night, so he kind of brushed him off. But he'll come on. He'll come on. How about Kirk Herbstreit? He'd be tough to get on too. Howard, anybody who's a football fan and watches a lot of football, college, pro, Kirk Herbstreit is fucking everywhere, dude. He's everywhere. Like legitimately everywhere. Everywhere I go, I hear the guy. I'm like, man, Kirk Herbstreit is everywhere. By the way, every network needs to get that Amazon, that Sky View that they use. Every network. That Amazon cast with Next Gen Stats and the way they highlight the players and the pressure and the coverages, it is incredible. Seriously, if you are like a football nerd or you want to be a football nerd, you have got You have got to watch that Next Gen Stats broadcast on Amazon. It is so good. It is so freaking good. I love watching it. It's so good. Dang, isn't it amazing? You can see the field. You can see what receivers are lined up where. Dude, Sig, it's funny you say that because when Amazon first started, I'm into like production and stuff because I'm in media. So I kind of enjoy it. I look for some of the things, the bugs, the chyrons, all the different things. I've always been interested in it. It's always been one of the things that I love, but I agree with you. And I didn't think Amazon was that great at first. They are by far the best network this year, in my opinion. I don't even think it's close. Their coverage is, I don't love their pre and post game show. I'm not a huge fan of the crew they have. I like Sherman. Fitzpatrick gets on my nerves. Whitworth is good here and there. But I think Carissa does a good job. And I like Gonzalez. I like Tony Gonzalez. Yeah, I agree. It's unfortunate that it's the shittiest games. Well, they got better matchups this year. Yeah, they can get new. I agree with that, Siglord. That's the easy part. Caleb Downs, bro, Big Trag. Where exactly do you think we're drafting next year? Caleb Downs might be a top 10 pick, dude. Fuck Caleb Downs, by the way. He left Alabama. Fucking Caleb Downs. Bitch ass. He flaked on Alabama. That's why I hope we beat the shit out of Ohio State. Caleb Downs, bitch ass. Did they do NASCAR too, Dirty Air? I would have loved to have seen that broadcast. Maybe I'll go watch that. Maybe I'll go. Oh, by the way, you know what's something I added to my watch list that got promoted last night on the game? That new Iverson documentary. There's like an Iverson 3-part doc on Prime Video. I'm watching that this weekend, I think. I'm watching that. Clarissa. Deshae likes Clarissa. I have no idea what you're talking about, getting to know herself, but what does this mean? I think about the video of her getting to know herself. Lord, I don't know what the hell that means, Deshae. Deshae is down bad. Flex, you're down bad for what's her name too? Caleb is easily the best safety. All right. Caleb is amazing, but Flex, Alabama will beat the shit out of Ohio State this year. We are on a collision course. Okay? And Alabama will beat the shit out of Ohio State. Mark my words. They got the best safety and the best wide receiver. Caleb Downs he's a flake, Big Trag. He's a flake. He left the Tide to go play for Ohio State. First sign of adversity. He ain't built different. He's a good player though. He is. He is the best safety in college football easily. And Jeremiah Smith is great, it's a team game, my friend. Look at Flex. Be careful what you wish for. Flex. Bama will beat the shit out of Ohio State this year. Mark my words. Better quarterback is in Alabama, whether you like it or not. Although I do like saying he's not bad. He's one of the better quarterbacks I've seen at Ohio State recently. All right. Yeah, Darnell Tate, he's a hell of a player too. Darnell Tate's a hell of a player. Better team. Flex, and who have you beat this year? Who did you beat this year, Flex? We beat Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, Vanderbilt. Who did you beat this year? Ohio State hasn't beaten anybody. They haven't proven anything to anybody. Saying is the best QB in the country. Oh, Deshae. Stop with that, Deshae. That is a crazy comment. No, he's not. No, he is not the best QB in the country. Curtis, yes, I'm in. Deshae, stop. Yeah, that's what I mean. They're playing Timu teams. Who is Ohio State beating besides shitty Texas and the overrated, overhyped Arch Manning-led Texas? Overrated and overhyped Arch Manning. Guy's going to be a bust. He does not have what it takes. Sorry, Arch. Ty Simpson is him. Xander, you also did shit last year. We won it all. We had Jalen Milroe last year. We had Jalen Milroe last year, man. I like Jalen Milroe, but he ain't Ty Simpson. You see Jeremy Bernard? Come on, man. Isaiah Horton, Ryan Williams. Come on. Our defensive line, the Bama D line is gonna eat on your O line. They're going to beat up on them boys. Bama is back, baby. Flexen, be objective for a second. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. Just be objective with me for a second. I'm not picking on Ohio State. You beat Texas, Grambling State, Ohio, Washington, Minnesota, Illinois, and Wisconsin. Okay? That's your wins. The only ranked opponent there, 2, Illinois 23rd ranked, and Texas 22 ranked. Alabama has beaten. Oh, look, now it's all love. Flex, what? You can't handle a little back and forth, Flex? Alabama has beaten Louisiana Monroe, no points for that. Wisconsin, no points for that. Georgia, ranked 5th. Vanderbilt, ranked 10th. Missouri, ranked 15th. Tennessee, ranked 17th. Come on, fam. Come on, fam. Yeah, you're definitely gonna beat Michigan. Indiana's gonna be interesting. Who do you guys play this weekend? Who's Ohio State play this weekend? Penn State? No, that's next weekend. You guys have a bye week right now? All right. Ohio State's on a bye week. You got Michigan. I don't even see Indiana on your schedule. Are you saying playoffs? Because you guys don't have anybody left on the schedule that's good. You have nobody left on the – you guys aren't going to play anybody all year. You have Penn State, who's floundering. Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, and Michigan, who's barely in the top 25 right now at 25. Come on, man. Big Ten title game. Duh. Yeah, that's right. Big Ten title game. That'll be good. That'll be good. If you lose, though, baby. I like Indiana. I like Cignetti. Keep that same energy, chump. All right. Roll fucking Ty, Deshae. Give me Ty Simpson over Julian Sayin all day. I'll give you this. Jeremiah Smith clears any of our receivers. I will give you that. Jeremiah Smith is a freaking stud. You know who else I like that's got the same name as Jeremiah Smith in terms of first name? I like Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. A lot of good players in college ball this year. A lot of good players in college ball. They're saying the draft is going to be light, but I'm looking around college ball, man. I'm seeing good players everywhere. Yeah, I'm not in on – I don't think Michigan – I'm not in on Michigan, man. Only tie-dye acknowledges the laundry detergent. Oh, flexion. That's Carnell Tate's really good. Carnell Tate is fucking good. All right, Ryan Williams is not ass. That is a crazy comment. Have you seen Jeremy Bernard? How about Isaiah Horton? Bama's got some boys too. You guys are sleeping on the Tide. I'm telling you, you're sleeping on the Tide. That team is playing good football right now, dude. And Ty Simpson can sling the rock. Jason A-Team, get out. Tide sucks. Get out, Jason. Where's my Bama hat? Left me up in my room. I don't think I have it down here. Oh, here we go. Here we go. That's it. That's it. I got the Saban hat on now. I got the Saban hat on now, folks. Woo! I got the Saban hat on. Oh, you're saying the laundry. I got you. Look at Philly Don. Philly Don, did you think this was a burn or something? We lost to fucking Florida State to start the year. What did you think that was? A burn, Philly Don? It's the same thing on Jalen Hurts. When you're not living up to your potential, Philly Don, you get called out. Philly Don, I know you and Flex live in the world of, oh, nobody's so perfect all the time. I know that's where you live, Philly Don, and that's your worldview. It ain't mine. Same with you, Flex. You were shitting on Ryan Day last year, weren't you, Flex? Get your bitch ass out of here. Both of you. Philly Don to the corner, flexing and stepping to the corner. To the corner, Flex. Philly Don, you're done for the day, Philly Don. This hat is fire, though. I'm feeling like Zander Saban up here. I'm feeling like Zander Saban up here. All right? You got to bring the intensity. Thanks. And remember when Zander said his mood doesn't? No, I didn't. Well, yeah, I spoke wrong if I said that. Mood definitely changes. It's more about I try not to let it impact my real life would be my take, Tank. That's a hilarious comment, though. And my mood absolutely changes because of football. My mood changes so much because of football, it hurts. It is painful how much my mood can fluctuate because of football. Oh, that's funny. Dank, that's a good call out. I acknowledge a good call out when it comes. Flexing and Deshae saying that Alabama stinks is not a good call out. All right. This hat is banging. You guys all love it. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. I bought this on the campus of Alabama. All right. We lost to the Giants. Next thing I know, Zander wanted to kick my ass. No, I didn't, Waddington. I love your ass. You just had some shitty takes, and I told you how shitty they were. We all have shitty takes. I've had shitty takes. Look, if you type in Nick Saban Alabama hat, it's the first thing that comes up. Oh, I like how he bent his rim a little forward. Check this sucker out. Dude, I am Zander Saban today. This is legendary. Call me Zander. I am now Zander Saban to you. All right? Zander Saban. You hear me? Look at the fucking goat. That's the goat right there. I like how he's got the front rim bent, though. I got a bend this bitch. I used to wear this on game day, folks. Let me find a picture of me on Alabama's campus in this hat. Let me find a picture of me. Here's Flexen and Deshae. They've never stepped foot on Ohio State's campus. They've never stepped foot on Ohio State's campus. Bunch of nerds. Oh my God, dude. These pictures are great. Look. In the Bama jersey. Come on, clear up. In the Bama jersey and the Saban hat. Are you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? There's my boy Chuck. That is classic. That is classic. Philly Don, you're in the corner. I don't want to hear from you anymore. Step Show says, stop it. That man is not the GOAT. Oh, yeah. Who's your GOAT? Let's hear your GOAT. Who's your college football GOAT? Six to seven yellow hammers and you're golden. I bet that hat. No, it smells fine. I haven't worn it in years. But look, it's that material, Dirty Air, so it doesn't really hold all the shit. It smells good. It smells fine. It smells fine. I got to get that front rim bent down like Saban, though. Got to get that front rim bent down like Nick, like St. Nick. Joe Pa, oh, please. Xander, what the hell is going on in the chat? You were wearing a grandpa hat. Big Mike, shut up, Big Mike. I mean, come on, Big Mike. Nick Sabiani. No. That's enough rim talk. Only Big Trag. Only a ditty. Only a real diddler and corn-brained guy like yourself would hear me talk about the rim of a hat and think about that. Only a true diddler would think about that, Big Trag. Would hear me talk about the rim of my damn hat and think Diddy. That's only a real diddler. And that's you, Big Trag. You're projecting. Only a true and honest Diddy disciple would think like that. Get off the corn. Oh, man. You corn-brained diddler. Perfect word, Bruce. Yeah, to the corner with Philly Don. Only a true Diddy disciple would be talking like that. Only a true and honest Diddy. Even Flexen was like, hey, man, that's a Diddy. That's a Diddy comment there. All right? Even Flexen, who hates Alabama, thinks that. All right? No, it's not Big Trag anymore. It's Big Diddler. Big Trag is now Big Diddler. You've never seen Saban. TK Fresh, are you a football fan? How have you never seen Saban? The guy's on every TV show in the world now. What do you mean you've never seen a picture of Saban? I had a different image in mind. Do you have a phone? Do you have social media? TK Fresh, are you a Bob Lang plant from Canada? A lot, Joey B. Too many to say publicly. TK must be 12. He might be. TK, what's your age? Reveal your age. Because if you've honestly never seen a photo of Nick Saban, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Everybody knows who the GOAT is, including the Nimrod who just told me he wasn't the GOAT. A shitty take. I don't watch TV, never watch college ball. Do you have a phone? You've never seen a picture of Nick Saban. Are you honestly telling me this is the first time you've seen St. Nick? Brandon, now. Brandon, you might be the best thing to ever come out of Canada. All right? TK Fresh is 30. That's crazy, TK. I don't know what to tell you. He's on every commercial. He was on a commercial for the Eagles game recently with the Aflac guy. I'm 30. Never seen him, never heard him speak. That is crazy talk. Well, TK Fresh, you've had a lot of shitty Eagles or a lot of shitty football takes. My recommendation to you would be go and listen to him speak and consume it. it might help your shitty takes in the chat. All right? It might help your shitty takes in the chat. Joey B, no stories will ever be aired publicly from Alabama. All right? That is a time in my life, as fun as it was, as electric as it was. I don't know who's out there listening, Joey B. Kirby Smart's the GOAT. Kirby Smart is a Nick Saban disciple. Stop it. That's like saying Jonathan Gannon is the GOAT because he fucking is under Vic Fangio. Now, I guess that's not a perfect comp because Kirby's had success, but come on. Kirby learned from Nick. Kirby learned from Nick, as did most of the best coaches in college football right now. All right. TK, that is such a bad take by you, Ryan. Ryan, you really do have some bad takes, dude. Ryan, I love you and I appreciate you being here, but you really have some truly, truly bad takes. I mean, it's almost unbelievable. You have some bad take. Saban puts you to sleep. I think Saban is amazing. I could listen to Saban talk all day. One of my favorite Saban speeches, he recently gave the commencement at Alabama. I think it was this year's commencement. If you want to hear a masterful speech on life, on the journey to success, and all the different things, the ups and the downs of life, relationships with people, you got to go and listen to Nick Saban's commencement address at Alabama this year. Please, if you're a Saban fan and you haven't heard that, I promise you it will not disappoint. One of the best Saban speeches I've ever heard. The commencement. He actually, I think it was when Trump spoke at the commencement too for Alabama, but Saban spoke first. Listen to Saban. The Saban speech was unbelievable. It was so good. The whole thing. All right. Joey B. Zander, give us a game day rundown of what happens in Tuscaloosa. Game days are a shit show, dude, in Tuscaloosa. They are a shit show. I'll never forget the one game day. I shouldn't do this, Joey B. I don't want to reveal any stories from Alabama. I'll never forget the one, though. I woke up. I'm not going to tell you where I woke up, but I woke up. I woke up with that blank look on your face of like, holy shit. What time is it? I couldn't find my phone anywhere. It was I had no idea where my phone was. I couldn't find it anywhere. Also, I knew it was like 11 a.m. It was like 10 a.m. And I had to get to the damn, the campus to get to the tailgate because the people, I needed to bring something. I'm like, fuck. So I dip on where I was and I'm like, you know what? Forget the phone. I don't need it right now. Let me go and get this done. I'll find the phone later. Well, that phone never showed up. I had honeys looking for it. I had I'll say the person whose place I was at looking for it. I'll keep it to person. All right. Let me keep it at person. I don't want to go much further than that. All right. I'm telling you, guys, I don't know who's listening, guys. You can't have me talk about Alabama. You can't have me talk about the University of Alabama. All right. All right, Joey B. I'm done with your comments for now. I'm done with your comments for now. All right, good show. Fun Zander time. We talked about a whole lot of nothing, but that's what we do here sometimes. All right. I like the comment of the day was get our lick back. Are we going to get our lick back versus the Giants this weekend? What do you guys think? Yeah, flex. Flexing. We might have been going back and forth today. Do not let me fall into that trap, please. Okay? All right? Do not let me fall into that trap. Yeah, I plead the fifth is right. Plead the fifth. Get our lick back. No Diddy. That was me too, Joey B. I still got some loans from fucking Alabama. Add that to the list of people who tell me I'm what do they call me? I forget what they call me, all the names that they call me. That's part of the reason that I left. I'm like, fuck. student loans, all this shit. Don't make sense. All right, here we go. 45-17. As long as we keep Scattaboo from licking more paint. That dude is nuts. I don't know how he's interesting to watch. I don't know how long his career is going to last, though. Joey B. Eagles going to dust the Giants like Z dusted his friend. I did dust my friend that day. I woke up, was like, yeah, I got to dip. I'm out. Find my phone, will you? Please find my. I don't want to see you again until you find my cell phone. If you don't find my phone, you're done and dusted. All right. Phone never showed up, but I can't blame the friend. Him and Dart are on a CTE train, express train, straight to a brain. I hope not dirty air, but it does look like that. It does look like that. I won't lie to you. All right. All right, everybody. Good show. Good show. To all the Ohio State nerds in the chat, you guys are cooked. You guys are cooked. Oh, man. No giveaway, Brandon. I didn't get any new members. If I got 5 members, I'll do a giveaway. If I get 5 members in the next 5 minutes, I'll do a giveaway. JAKIB merch giveaway. All right. Billy Dunn, I would acknowledge your chat and thank you, but you're in the corner, so I can't hear you anymore. All right. I can't hear you anymore. Sorry. I can't believe that you guys just got me to talk about what I just talked about. I already regret it. The show isn't even over, and I regret it. The show is not even over yet, and I regret it. Okay? Joey B, I blame you. I blame you, Joey. You always come in here and you get me talking about all the wrong things, Joey B. All right, everybody. We out of here. We out of here. I love all you guys. See you next time, everybody. Roll Tide.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.